He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
Come to the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving. Come to the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving movie club.
From the deepest corner of the darkest universe, two brave hosts battle through nameless hordes of ghoulish monsters most foul, all to bring you the eternal glory of the Dark Side Drive-In.
It's the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving. Come to the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving movie club. It's the dark side, driving. Come to the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving. It's the dark side, driving movie club.
Hey, what's up? It's Shane with Dynamis Media, and I'm joined here with Stefan.
Hello.
And today we have a very special movie for you. Some of the feedback I've gotten has been, this is not a good one. I don't believe you. You're lying to me. Don't ever compare anything to Death Ship.
How could you not like a movie that is basically just like Ratatouille meets Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah. Well, I've got some thoughts. But
except the rats don't help you cook; they eat you.
So I didn't know the meme was from this movie.
There's a meme that came from this movie.
Yes, at the end when the guy takes his gas mask off.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's a very famous photo, and it's from this movie.
It is. I didn't know that. Movie. Yeah.
And
spoiler alert for a twist ending. It's coming up.
Yeah, we made it to. It's sad it had such a bad finish, but
here we go.
We'll get into that.
Do you want to say the name of the movie, or are we just going to keep dancing around?
Yeah, it's Rats. It's Rats: Night of Terror.
So you don't mix it up with the other Rats movies. I'm sure there's 10 of probably them. A ton of other Rats movies.
Yeah, there's like 10. There's so many. Rats.
Just so you know, this is the Night of Terror Rats.
Right. Those other rats, not as terrible at night. Not as terrifying at night. Jesus Christ.
Not as terrorful a night.
It's like sound like Trump. Anyways, starting off strong.
Really good. We're really doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all back to our normal cadence. We
have the concepts of a normal cadence.
Yeah. We're coming off hot from some of our intermission episodes, one of which we called out Witch of the Woods, and she's responded, and she has agreed to defend Saw, or try to at least. So that should be coming up probably November, because Stefan.
Yes?
Guess what month it's going to be?
It is going to be October.
What do we do in October?
We do the Samhain season devilish duology.
I'm so pumped. I know we save it for the end, but the movie we are going to watch for the first part of our second annual Samhain season devilish duology is just too good. We've been teasing it since we started.
We've been teasing it since the last devilish duology, because it started up after we watched Demon Wind, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were drunk and forgot to turn off Tubi, and it just started.
It was a gift. But yes. But the funny thing is, I think at one time you actually said the name of the movie in an episode and bleeped it out so that we wouldn't so we wouldn't reveal to the world what that movie is. And I was like, you didn't even tell them that was the movie.
Oh man. Yeah, I just I can't wait. I'm so excited for this. I'm excited to talk about Rats because I actually love this movie.
You still haven't said the name of the movie for the devilish duology.
Oh, no, it's gonna.
Oh, you just wanted to tease that it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I wanted to tease that about the teasing.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah,
not like they can just skip to the end and play what it is.
It's illegal. You can't skip to the end. You have to listen the whole way through.
Yeah, and if you're a cop, you have to tell me.
Yeah, right. That's entrapment.
It's entrapment.
Oh man. But yeah, so super pumped for the spooky season. I know Halloween should be our biggest month, but honestly it's Christmas. Christmas last year was our best month. I don't know why, but hey, we'll take it. But we picked up some new listeners. And you're like, how do you know we picked up new listeners? Well, it tells me what state you're in. So unless y'all are traveling, I think we got some new listeners. So thank you all. It means a lot to us. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of them are at The Dark Side Drive-In.
Some variant thereof.
Yeah, I think Twitter's the one that's just at Dark Side Drive-In. I don't think someone had the... and I wasn't smart enough to do an underscore, but definitely follow us. We're going to get back to posting more huge updates. We're going to try to do some video stuff coming up in the next 2 months maybe. Stefan and I are very dedicated to putting out a good product, so we're not just going to wing a video podcast and post it. We're going to probably try to hone it in and make it at least sound and look good.
Makeup artists, special effects,
right?
The whole nine.
Yeah, right. We'll have like explosions behind us, maybe some ghosts, maybe Darkside Dave will make an appearance.
Oh no, let's actually decide what he looks like.
Ooh, or will we?
I don't even bring up Darkside Dave. He's here because he never leaves. He's playing Space Marine 2 on my Xbox right now.
Oh no!
For the Emperor, he keeps yelling that.
For the Emperor.
Yeah, every time I'm almost asleep, he'll come over to my room at like 3 a.m. and yell for the Emperor. I'm like, go to sleep, Darkside Dave, or go home.
It'd be funnier if he like got really close to you while you're sleeping. Oh, the Emperor, like real soft.
Subtlety is not Darkside Dave's strong point.
Yeah, right. For sure.
What are you saying about me?
Shut up, Dave. You're not in this episode. Go kill some Tyranids.
Yeah, maybe Fritz will make an appearance. We don't know. We missed Dracula. He hasn't been around a while. Someone might have staked him, but we'll figure some stuff out.
He's been canceled, so he's laying low.
It's been canceled, yeah. I heard he went to a party at never mind. I'm not gonna do it. We're gonna move on.
Nice try. I see what you're doing.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
low hanging fruit.
You did.
We're better than this.
No, we're not.
We're better than this.
But we usually need to at least put a little bit of thought into the joke before you try to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just edit around it, but I think it's funnier now that you've messed it up to just keep it.
Well, P. Diddy jokes are like becoming very popular, and I feel like it's like at this point, it's like I think let's just let him get a guilty verdict and don't, and then we can pick on him.
Sure.
Not saying he's innocent. I don't want the internet to ruin. I don't like a mistrial. So.
All right. Well, true crime. Well,
that happens, man. I'm actually kind of worried about that.
Oh, fair enough.
But, yeah. So, let's bring the mood back up.
Yeah. Okay. I just derailed this.
Yeah. Right. Tailspin straight off the cliff. Thelma and Louise. Yeah. So normally we do our game. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to get into before we talk about the movie some more. I have some questions I know you have answers to, so I'm excited to ask them before we really dive into the movie. For those of you that did watch this,
not sorry.
Yeah, Stefan's not sorry. I'm not sorry either. It is crazy, like these Italian movies that are dubbed. And if you're not, like, if you didn't watch like a lot of the spaghetti westerns or these movies, it would probably be a little jarring. I forgot it was an Italian movie until about 10 minutes in, they're like overdubbed. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And I remembered, it's an Italian joint. So
yeah, for those who don't know about Italian movies, is that they always overdub I don't think they do anymore. I've never watched more recent Italian movies, but throughout the spaghetti western days all the way through the 80s, if it was an Italian movie, they generally would, even if there was a person speaking English on set, they would overdub the voice. So they would overdub a voice who's speaking Italian with English, then they would overdub a person speaking English with their own voice just in English. So even when it's like the actress in this, the main actress who plays Chocolate, Greta, she is actually overdubbing her own voice, but it doesn't always match up because they had to overdub it and they didn't record it on set. It's very strange.
It is strange. I think it lends itself well to some of these scenes because they're doing some really crazy shots. Like that's one thing about, I think these Italian films, they're very artsy. Like they really set up some good shots. They really play with like, filming from different angles and stuff to create like space and height and perspective. So I think maybe with having the characters moving around so much, it was probably a pain in the ass to have them mic'd like that. So I don't know. Either way, yeah. So if you aren't used to that, any Italian movie we do probably, or any Italian movie that you're going to watch from this era and earlier is going to have overdub voices. So be ready. So
I do think it's super funny though that, there's so many amazing giallos throughout the 70s and 80s. We could have done any of those as our first Italian movie. And instead we choose Rat's Night of Terror. I love that. You got to keep them guessing. You got to zig when they want you to zag and vice versa. Right. You got to rat when they want you to slasher.
Yeah, right. I can't wait to talk about the rats, like the literal rats later. But
should be great.
Should be great. But I think I think it's about time to get into everyone's favorite segment, the reason they're here, the reason for the season. It is
the creepy questionnaire.
And
sounds.
Chain rattle chair.
Spooky ghost.
Indistinct wailing from the distance.
Oh no, there's wailing going on?
I
thought it was outlawed unless you're one of the First Nations up in the north. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
Anyways,
I'm done with my wailing joke. Jeez.
Last time on the creepy questionnaire, we had a impromptu change in pace on the questions, and we asked Stefan what were the 3 rules about Gremlins, and he nailed all 3 of them.
Of course, I did.
Yeah, there was no faking that one. And honestly, today's question, I had a choice between 2, and I want to talk about the one movie, and this is like T-ball for you.
All right.
So I think I just need to know if you're ready.
You know what, Shane? I'm the readiest I've ever been.
Insert dramatic music.
Some of that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire pulsing
I know.
music.
I love it. I try not to use it all the time because like it's gonna be annoying. But like I think it is funny that the software I use to get this music does have that. Like the bum, bum.
It's not like anyone's like breaking down the doors to copyright strike that, so go for it.
Yeah, really, seriously. Yeah. So the question is, and this is trivia, by the way.
Cool.
What is the puzzle box from Hellraiser called?
That would be the lament configuration.
So I knew you were gonna get he's gonna get this is like not even gonna be like, and we're not gonna pretend like, come on.
I mean, yeah, I bring up the
we
lament
literally
configuration.
Said lament configuration in the last 4 episodes.
Yeah, like I literally bring it up all the time.
And I wanted to talk about this because one of my favorite things that when we lived together, so we used to watch a lot of Mystery Science Theater, but the other thing we did for some unknown reason, we're like, let's just watch these Hellraiser movies. And we watched, like 6 of them.
As many as we could find, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, yeah, because Tubi wasn't a thing. And then the other day I thought of, I'm like, I want to buy Stefan a lament configuration. And then, what was that? You said that one thing where the guy was selling online. It was like
actual working
That's what
configuration. I'm like, oh no.
That's like so. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
and like and then I randomly pulled this I have a stack of cards. I just pulled one out and it was that one. I'm like, I have to do it.
So you had to, yeah. That one thing. There's like an online listing for like real working lament configuration. Like, do not buy it. There's so many movies that explain why you shouldn't do that.
It's too funny. But yeah.
Did you,
what a solid movie.
Did I ever tell you to look at the Xbox store reviews for the Dead by Daylight like Hellraiser expansion? So there's like a Hellraiser expansion for Dead by Daylight because there's every movie comes to Dead by Daylight eventually. And the ones for like the Pinhead one, the Hellraiser set, are so funny.
I haven't seen that.
Okay, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say there's a specific line that he says in the movie, and they make a ton of jokes about it. So, there you go. Something to look forward to.
I'm trying to find it right now.
Okay.
It's on...
It's on the Xbox store.
Right, I'm in the Xbox store. So Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, the Hellraiser expansion, because there's so many expansions in that game at this point.
Yeah, I have to go through the long way. There's a Dungeons and Dragons edition.
Yeah, Vecna.
Castlevania? Dude, what?
Castlevania's new.
This game,
yeah, they just came out.
What is this game? Like I know what it is, but like,
it's kind of funny because they actually like keep wrecking other games that do this, like the Evil Dead, the game. They release an Ash versus the Evil Dead expansion for Dead by Daylight. Then they turn around and try to do their own game, which is the Evil Dead game. And it's already been like, they've already decided to stop supporting it. It's like, yeah, you wrecked yourself because you put yourselves in Dead by Daylight before you added it to or made your own game. And it's the same thing for like, what is it? Didn't they do the same thing with Leatherface? I think Leatherface is in Dead by Daylight. And then they tried to make the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Granted, they do their own mechanics, but it's still like tough to justify having both exist side by side.
So let me check Steam because the Xbox One only shows the.
It won't be as funny.
Well, the Xbox One doesn't show. It only shows the Windows version.
Oh, that's weird.
So let me see if there's a good.
Oh, and did you hear the two characters that are coming to Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
No, who?
They're bringing in Tom Savini and Elvira.
Okay.
Yeah. You're going to be able to play as, Elvira, the character, and then Tom Savini, the guy. Just the man.
Oh my God. Nah, these guys are all like actually giving like real one.
Yeah, it was the Xbox store one that was funny. Oh well. Too bad.
Cool. All right.
I'll tell you what the line was. It was, sure. You called, we came.
Oh no.
So yeah, people ran with that line.
Oh my God. That's too funny. But so before we get into the cast and crew, I did see a photo of the French version of this, which is, it's just the Rats of Manhattan. I'm not going to say it in French. So obviously based in Manhattan, and the skyline in the movie poster is of Manhattan or of New York. So like, what's the deal?
Oh, sorry. It was, you opened it, we came. That was the line from.
Oh, you opened it, we came.
Yeah. But the part that they made the jokes about is still there. Yeah. Oh, but you want me to explain why it was the New York skyline and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the set looked familiar to anyone, it is because it is the actual set that had fallen in disrepair from Once Upon a Time in New York, the Sergio Leone movie. So yeah, even though they never say it was New York, yeah, it's supposed to sort of be New York.
Yeah, you think they would have said that like once or twice, and like, and we'll get there in the movie, but like, there's only like 2 scenes where there's any exposition like at all. So like,
yeah, a lot of the exposition comes from a dude reading us the opening text crawl. So there is that.
Right. Oh, I was gonna read that off in the intro, and I'm like, I can't do it justice.
Oh man, I'm really messing up today. It's New York exteriors for Once Upon a Time in America, not Once Upon a Time in New York. Or did I say Mexico? Did I say Once Upon a Time in America, or did I say Once Upon a Time in New York?
You said New York. It's okay.
Why don't you correct me? That was your chance to assassinate my character, since I always jump on your mistakes.
Well, I try to be a good friend.
Well, instead, you embarrassed me by making me correct myself. Maybe that was your game all along.
Yeah, playing the long game here.
Well,
but hey, if we wanted to know more about these beautiful actors that are in these Italian greats, I gotta say something.
You sure do, don't you?
Yeah, like why do they name the only like woman of color? Do they name her Chocolate? Like,
I mean, it makes more sense than that poodle in Video Dead being named Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Here
you go. Freck, that one's for you.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, naming her Chocolate, like they're like, oh, isn't that cool and funny? It's like, well, I'm cringing saying it now. I'm sure that back in 1984, maybe it wasn't so bad. I guess I don't know. It just seems like one of those things that is a better joke for a place that doesn't have like decades of racial like tension.
Yeah,
maybe in Italy it plays better. All right, back to the racism of the casual racism of Europe. Yes, so chocolate, not the chillest name, is as anyone would agree.
Yeah.
But moving on, I guess we can start with the cast and crew of Rats Night of Terror. So first here I have actual dead rats, just legions of them. So yeah, here's the thing. Like, I should have probably done a content warning moving into it.
You think?
Yeah, there's actual dead rats in this. So basically, like, there's a lot of scenes of just rats, just like fountains of rats pouring in. A lot of those were like real rats that had died. They just like the crew would just chuck them at people. So yeah, and they're like rats that died in the production of the movie. And you might say to yourself, wait, like real rats died in the making of this movie? He's like, yes, they cannot say animals were not harmed in the making of this movie. I don't know how they died, if it was natural causes, if it was supernatural causes, I don't know. Maybe it was some
this supernatural, like
it was some
not
probably werewolves. No, yeah, not werewolves. No, it wouldn't be. Yeah, it's naturally occurring werewolves did it, right. So it was natural causes. All right, whatever. Next up, first up, we haven't started this yet. All right, so the directors are Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso. A lot of the movies they did, they co-directed, or like one wrote and one directed, or they were very much like working together, collaborating on a lot of these things. Very well known for a lot of different exploitation movies, like people in prison movies, Nazi exploitation movies, zombie exploitation movies, anything that could be exploitative and done on a budget in Italy, these guys would do it. So for Bruno Mattei, we have like SS Girls, Hell of the Living Dead, The Other Hell, so it's not of the Living Dead, Violence in a Women's Prison Massacre, something called A Hannah D. La Ragazza del Vondel. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look this up on IMDb. This is gonna be the first time I've ever actually pulled up IMDb while we're actually doing this, because these guys, usually when we do these things, it's a number of like actors no one's ever heard of, and they're in, a couple of things, but not a lot. These like European actors are in so much stuff. It's almost absurd. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was looking at the name of that one movie that was directed by Bruno Mattei.
Yep.
Well, I can't believe it's not one of his top ones.
Which one?
It's that one that I was trying to find like the Italian name for, because I think I typed it wrong in my notes because I was doing it the last second.
So he was the director of that Hell of the Living Dead that we were talking about earlier.
The one that you said you think that was the one that got sued?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny that. That's entirely possible, but I don't know.
He also did Emmanuel and the Porno Nights of the World.
Yeah, I didn't really want to add porn to this. Oh yeah.
Well, this should be short for him then.
Here was Hannah D. La Ragazza del Vondel Park. So I did take it down right in my notes.
Nice.
I wasn't sure. I was like, there's no way that's the name of the park, but it is. All right. And I bring up that Hannah D one because it's going to come up for so many of these people. It's almost wild how many of them have actually been in that movie for some reason. All right. Next up for him is Strike Commando, Double Target, Zombie 3, which I actually accidentally watched one time. It was actually not terrible. It's interesting. It had like this really weird quality to it. Robo War, After Death, Shocking Dark, Terminator 2. So Shocking Dark, like hyphen Terminator 2 is how I've seen it credited, but in a lot of IMDb it just says Terminator 2. That's because it is a Italian unauthorized sequel of Terminator that came out before Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Okay, I wondered what that was. I'm like, that date is wrong and the photos look weird.
Yeah, everything about this seems incorrect. It's like it's a, like dollar store version of the Justice League or something. Like, yes, that's why. Yeah. He's got Cruel Jaws, The Tomb, Island of the Living Dead, Zombies: The Beginning. Like I said, a lot of zombie movies, a lot of exploitation movies, a lot of semi-pornographic art films from Europe and stuff like that. The co-director though, Claudio Fragasso. Now he has a lot of the same stuff. There's a couple that he had that Bruno Mattei didn't, like Monster Dog, Beyond Darkness, Night Killer. But he also has one that is incredibly important to the world. And as a co-writer of this movie, you might know why this dialogue sounds both bad but familiar. Claudio Fragasso was the writer and director of Troll 2.
No.
Yup.
Get out of here.
I will not. I'll stay right here. Stay right here in the camp where I'm totally right about this.
I'm in shock right now because it makes so much sense now. Like,
right? The awkward dialogue, everything about it sounds exactly like Troll 2.
Huh.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are your directors. Writers, we have 4, including both Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso. We also have Hervé Pacini and Rossella Drudi. For Hervé, he had Devilfish, which I only bring that up because that was like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie. And then the same Hannah D movie, he was also a writer on that. Similarly, Rossella Drudi, she has many of the same movies, including but not limited to Troll 2. I think she was uncredited on this as like a dialogue writer. It seems like she does a lot of like dialogue writing. But yeah, so many of the same movies as these guys. I didn't mention Claudio Fragasso's most recent endeavor, which was Karate Man in 2022. She wrote on that. She wrote on just a lot of the same movies from these guys. Let me just go through a couple of them. The Crawlers, Troll 2, I said that, Night Killer, Beyond Darkness, After Death, that fake Terminator 2, Robo War, Cop Game, Strike Commando 2, Zombie 3, can't forget that, Double Target, Strike Commando, Monster Dog, Hello Living Dead, I didn't realize she was one of the writers on that. So there you go. Yeah, she's often, a lot of these people often work together. I would like to know more about the Italian cinema system to understand how this happens. But we don't have time for that right now, Shane. We have to get into the music. But
I'm still reeling over this Terminator 2 because I'm looking into this.
Oh,
have you looked at any of the photos and stuff?
Not really. No, I mean, the shocking dark Terminator 2 that IMDb really makes it confusing because they just call it Terminator 2. I was like, that's going to be harder for people to understand. And I think we said this off air. So correct me if I already said this in the podcast.
Sure.
But a lot of these Italian movies have multiple titles. Like they'll release in Europe under one title and release in the United States under another one. So it can be very confusing to track some of these, like figure out which movie you're actually talking about. So that could,
you did not, but I think that's a good point.
Yes. Well, I brought it up to you before this.
Yeah.
But obviously
right.
It'd probably be a good idea to say it to our audience so they understand. If they see a movie and they're like, he didn't bring this one up. It's like, probably it's because one of the legion of movies that were in Italian that I didn't know what they were talking about. But there's also some that have like multiple titles. Some even have more than 2 titles. It's wild. But to the music, we have Luigi Ceccarelli, I want to say. Ceccarelli, kind of hard to tell. He did music for both of those women's prison movies I brought up earlier, Violence at a Women's Prison and Women's Prison Massacre. He did The Kiss of the Cobra, Nosferatu in Venice, which is a wild movie. It's basically like an unauthorized sequel to Nosferatu that actually stars Klaus Kinski as Nosferatu.
Really?
Yeah, look it up, dude. It's wild. But yeah.
This guy deserves a medal for this movie, though.
Who does?
The composer.
Oh, for this movie? Yes. I like his music style. It's, he's no Claudio Simonetti or something like that, but he definitely has his own style, and it really does embrace the very like campiness of its premise. And it's funny because they actually IMDb calls Nosferatu in Venice Vampire in Venice, and I was like, wait, that's Nosferatu in Venice, dude. Don't try to gaslight me, IMDb. What else do we have? Casablanca Express, Metamorphosis, Beyond the Ocean, After the Condor, Last Flight to Hell, La Diabolique. I almost said Diabolique, but that's a different movie. La Diabolique. So he has a lot of other credits too, but it's a lot of, it looks like Italian titles. I don't recognize them. So if there's somebody out there who's like all about Italian cinema and they're like, why don't you bring this one up? Sorry, can't bring them all up. Can't win them all, Do you have anything you want to add to the music? I know I haven't really been stopping to let you like have your 2 cents. I've been kind of like running through this.
I think he was a composer for The Girl from Nagasaki, which has the late Christopher Lee in it. I think that's probably, in my opinion, probably his biggest one on here.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Cool.
Yeah, he again, his music, I actually think for all the things that didn't go right in this movie, the music was not a problem. In fact, I actually really liked the music. But he really just nailed the 80s vibe in this. So
oh yeah,
which we'll get into later.
Yes, we will. All right, for special effects, I ended up going with Maurizio Trani. There's a lot of makeup artists, but he was specifically the special effects person. Some really interesting ones: Witchery, Metamorphosis, Don't Torture a Duckling, the Humanoid, Caligula, and I believe, yes, that Caligula.
Oh no,
Zombie. And if you're confused, like, what do you mean Zombie? It's Zombie, the Lucio Fulci one that was released in the United States as Zombie. It was released in Italy as Zombie 2 because the original Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy as Zombie. And this was an unauthorized sequel. But when it was released in the United States, they just called it Zombie. Or in some cases, Zombie Flesh Eaters. Depends on how descriptive they wanted to get about what those zombies would be up to. Also Zombie Holocaust, The Beyond, The House by the Cemetery, The New York Ripper. So like I'm just mowing through a few like classic Italian horror films right there. Piranha 2, The Spawning, Cinema Paradiso. And the last one I decided to bring up for Maurizio Trani was Troll 2. So if you're wondering about that green goo that they're always putting on everything in Troll 2, this is probably the person responsible for it.
Hey, that piss was digital.
Well, you don't piss on hospitality, Shane. Now we got to tighten our belts, literally, not just a saying. Those who haven't seen Troll 2, do yourself a favor and watch Troll 2. All right, but that's all I had for the crew. I'm going to move into the cast now, if you don't mind. And
you sent me down a Italian knockoff movie rabbit hole that I cannot get out of. And I'm trying to find out where I can watch this Terminator 2 movie because, man, folks, do yourself a favor. Just go to IMDb, look up Bruno Mattei Terminator 2. It is worth the photos. Robo War looks sick. I'm going to watch some of these. And what's cool is, as you're going to find out, and Stefan will get into, a lot of these people work together, like even the actors. So like Robo War, there's a ton of actors from Rats that are in that movie. Strike Commando has a bunch of the same people. So if you like these actors, you're in luck.
They're in other things. That was actually what I was going to get into with like the actors, is they have so many credits. Like in a lot of these horror movies that we do, it's like, oh, they did a few things and they moved on and got a career in real estate or something. Like not a lot of people have long careers. These European actors, dude, are in so many things. So I guarantee you that I've missed things because I'm not going to sit there scrolling through 400 credits trying to find interesting movies that aren't in, Italian or French, depending on what country they work in. I just don't have the time. I have a job. So there you go. All right, but starting out is the leader of the gang of misfit ruffians that find themselves in a rat onslaught, Kurt, as played by Ottaviano Dell'Acqua. So just to give you an idea, this man has 368 stunt credits, often in movies that he has like a bit part in because, let the stunt person have like an actual role every once in a while. I mean, not that stunts aren't actual roles, but like an on-camera role where they can do something.
Yeah. Like credited role.
Yeah. But a couple of interesting ones for his stunt work are Dario Argento's Dracula 3D, which might be one of the worst Dracula movies I've ever seen. It's the one where Dracula at one point turns into a giant praying mantis. Have I told you about that?
No.
It's weird. It's weird, man. And then also American Assassin, which was a recent American action movie. And it's like, man, this dude must be old and he's still doing stunt work. That's wild. But some of his acting roles that stood out to me, Satyricon, Zombie, Nightmare City, which is actually an anime, so it's voice work, I'm guessing. The Beyond, Warriors of the Wasteland, Red Sonja, Demons, which is a fun movie. Zombie 3, which I actually remember him from Zombie 3 because this guy has a very distinct look. After Death, he had a small role in Bill the Butcher's Gang and Gangs of New York. He had a small role in John Wick Chapter 2 as well. So, but he also has tons of Italian film credits. So run, don't walk to his IMDb page and enjoy scrolling for 8 years. Pause for Shane to not say anything. All right, moving on.
No, so like I'm looking up Red Sonja right now. So this is the one that you and I, just a little throwback. This is the one that I mistaked for Conan.
Conan the Barbarian? Yeah.
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 Because of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he plays Calidor. But isn't this tied to that universe?
That's a complicated question. I know that they've had I think Red Sonja was made as like a reaction to Conan the Barbarian, but I don't think that like the original version of the character was actually part of the Conan universe. Oh wait, There was a Red Sonja in a story by Robert E. Howard called Shadow of the Vulture. I didn't even realize that. Okay, so she's partially inspired by that, but the version that this is referring to is the one that was created by Marvel in 1973. And that's around the time that the Conan the Barbarian comics that were published by Marvel at the time were becoming big. So there's a way for them to kind of cash in on that and add another character to the world. So she is considered part of the like Hyborian Age or whatever Conan inhabits, but isn't actually part of the original Conan the Barbarian universe as written by Robert E. Howard, at least not in the version that we know. But it was inspired by a version of that did exist in those old stories. So super simple, easy to figure out. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean the amount of knockoff Italian, like I don't want to say knockoff, that's not even fair. It's mind-boggling how many movies these people were all in.
No, it's absolutely wild. I thought that going through those British actors stuff, like for Lair of the White Worm, was going to be tough. This was so hard because most of them weren't in English, and I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're important. Yeah. But next up is an actress that I believe is American, which is the actress who plays Chocolate, Goretta. And if you're wondering, I thought I saw her in something, but it wasn't Goretta. It was she was credited as something else. She is credited under like 40 different names, man. Like it's so like if you go in and look, I don't even remember what she was credited in this. I think she was credited as a totally different name. Let me check.
Yeah, she was born in Portland, Oregon, and then she moved to New York, but she's been all over. Like she's in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what she was credited as in this one though. Yeah, so like some of the names she's been credited under: Greta Giancarlo.
Giancarlo.
Gianna Ryan is what she was credited in this. Goretta Marie in Murder Rock Dancing Party. Yeah. She has a few different names she's been credited under. And if you actually want to see her talk about this movie too, before I dive into her other credits here, she actually appears in the way that I found out about this movie, which is a documentary called In Search of Darkness Part 3, which is like a 3-part documentary series about 80s horror. So, right up my alley. Yeah, she actually appears in that to like discuss, this movie a little bit. That's how I found out about the actual dead rats. She's like, yeah, they're just throwing dead rats at us. Like, oh no. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, some of her acting credits, Warrior of the Lost World, Demons, Domino, the fake Terminator 2 movie, Bloody Christmas, World Darkness, One Way Ticket to the Other Side. She actually has a couple of writing credits that I figure I bring up because that's kind of interesting to talk about. Here, let me close out her acting credits, open up her writing credits. Yeah, the way that the IMDb website works is probably the worst thing I've ever seen. I've chosen what I want to see, and it won't let me see it. All right. Writing: Sweetie Cakes, Oedipal Eats, White Patty, Sweet Treats. Sweets and Teats. Never mind, that's a different thing. The Boy with the Sun in His Eyes, and How to Not Hire a Hitman. And a bunch of those she actually directed as well. Sweetie Cakes, Oedipal Eats, White Patty, Sweets and Teats, and then How to Not Hire a Hitman. So she's been trying her hand at a couple other parts of the, filmmaking process in the last 25 years or so. So there you go, Greta, somebody who let them throw rats at her to make this movie. I mean, they all did, I guess, but
at that point, do you have a choice?
Yeah,
just chucking rats at you.
Yeah, she actually took the role because her roommate had turned it down. It's like, yeah, I guess I see why they did turn it down, considering they were getting pelted by rats. But hey, whatever. The next up is her sort of love interest, I guess. It's sort of hard to tell. Video, as played by Gianni Franco. He's got Delirium, Phantom of Death, The Wax Mask, The Phantom of the Opera, but not that one. Atlantis Interceptors, The Taming of a Scoundrel, or the Taming of the Scoundrel. So yeah, he has a lot of roles though too. So I think he had like 119 credits. So I'm missing out on a lot of stuff that he's done, but most of it is in Italian, and I just don't have time to go through all that and figure out what's what. So
that's fair.
There you go, Gianni Franco. Then next up is one of our final survivors. I kind of went in order of people's deaths, not necessarily their importance to the plot. Deus, as played by Fausto Lombardi. Not Falco Lombardi, that's Star Fox's crew member. He's got Terror Express, Don't Look in the Attic, that Hannah D movie that we brought up, and also Fake Terminator 2 that we brought up, and then After Death. That's kind of all I brought up for Fausto Lombardi. Like, I think he has again a number of credits. He's another Italian actor. I think he only has like 20.
You know what's really weird?
What's that?
Okay, and I'm looking this up right now. His character in this, Deus, reminded me so much of Tien from Dragon Ball Z. And like, I don't know if it was just like the art on his head, but the way he dressed, like the shaved head kind of with the, like that monk kind of style. A lot of the Japanese, and I would need to do a lot of research. So a lot of this is just me trying to put some pieces together, because it was just kind of strange. But so this came out the same year that the manga for Dragon Ball came out. And I always wondered, like, after watching this, like, I'm reading through all this stuff, I wonder if, because a lot of the Japanese characters, like video games even, were based off of 80s, like, movies, like horror movies, action movies, stuff like that. So, like, Street Fighter, Streets of Rage, Final Fight, all those games had ties to movies and stuff from the 80s. So I always, like, after watching this, wondered if Deus, like, inspired Tien.
Oh, let's call up Akira Toriyama. Oh no.
Oh, come on. You call his estate and apologize. I love Toriyama.
I mean, I do too, but
I know, but don't you think it's kind of strange how, I mean, his whole vibe is kind of Tien like, isn't it?
He has a very spiritual vibe.
Yeah.
Kind of an unclear version of spirituality, because he has some elements that it seems like could be Eastern philosophy, and then some that are like Catholic philosophy. So,
but that fits the apocalypse though, right?
Yeah, it's a guy. His character, like, not to show our hand for the plot, is a character that clearly reads and is a student of the world in a way that some of the other characters aren't. So yeah, no, I can see that.
Cool.
All right, well, moving on from possibly Tien, but we'll never know. On to Diana, a character that dies pretty horribly. So
sure does.
Diana is played by Cindy Ledbetter. She's been in a lot of stuff, including one of the movies she's been in. I can't believe IMDb will let that thumbnail be there for that movie, because it's definitely got nudity in it. But yeah,
another one. We found another one too.
Yeah, for sure. She had Emmanuel in The Last Cannibals. She had Star Crash, which was a movie that was done by Mystery Science Theater 3000. She had Absurd, The Adventures of Hercules, and then she was also in Sweets and Teats, the movie that Greta wrote and directed. So that's an interesting intersection of careers there, that she was in that. Yeah. So that wasn't too long ago. That was like 2008. So that's really all she had, though. So mercifully, we had somebody who didn't have 80,000 80,000 credits. And same with the next person, our human antagonist of sorts, Duke, otherwise known as the leader of the marching band based on his outfit, is played by Henry Luciani. He had La Crime Napolitane and then Malambra. So not English titles, but I figured I'd write them down because there's only two of them. It's really easy. And then next is his sort of love interest, sort of captive, Myrna, is played by Anne Giesel Glass. She was also in that Hannah D movie that we've brought up. She had a bunch of stuff, Just Friends, Lady in Chief, and everything else she had looked like it was French to me, so nothing really jumped out at me. I don't know if you saw anything there that was like a standout for you.
So she is from France. So good call.
I can identify languages when they're written.
Yeah. But she's from Strasbourg, which is pretty interesting. The Rhineland.
Oh, man.
But no, I didn't see anything on her list that was remotely like, oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, no. Like, maybe that's on me, man. I need to do more French cinema, but probably not gonna. All right, moving on. Taurus, which is a fun name, is played by Massimo Vanni. So this is another one with like a legion of roles that he's played. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go through enough of them.
He's in a ton of those like knockoff ones.
He's in a lot of those like, Italian, similar to but legally distinct from, except when they're not movies and shows. Right. But he has 117 stunt credits, and I really didn't go through a lot of them. I know he did some even recent ones like Sense8. I think he did the House of Gucci, the new House of Gucci. He did like Al Pacino's stunts for that. But just speaking of his acting credits, grabbed up a few. What is it? Rome, The Other Side of Violence, Keoma, A Special Cop in Action, The Inglourious Bastards, but not that one because this one's actually spelled right. Then he's got, what is it? The House by the Edge of the Lake, which seems like a ripoff of something. The Last Shark, which is definitely a ripoff of something. It's a ripoff of Jaws. And in fact, it was such a ripoff of Jaws that it's one of the ones that they got sued and had to like move back its release date. He had one we saw earlier, Warriors of the Wasteland, something called Escape from the Bronx, Blast Fighter, all one word, Strike Commandos, Double Target, also Zombie 3, also Robo War. He's also in Fake Terminator 2, After Death, The Wax Mask, and it looks like he had a small uncredited role in Gangs of New York. And also, something like 100, he has 108 credits for acting and 117 credits for stunts. So
it's a lot.
Yeah, the man pays the bills, y'all. So there you go. That's it for that. Next up is Lucifer, a real son of a gun. This guy, Lucifer, is played by Jean-Christophe Bretonnier. I think is how you pronounce that. Yeah,
Bretonnier.
Yeah. I didn't know that you did that. Clearly, I haven't taken French since high school. Forgive me.
It's Bretonnier.
Yeah, you don't have to say it again and correct me twice. You already corrected me once.
Well, I said it wrong. I said it wrong in the correction. So.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, I only put down a few of his. He's another one that has like too many credits for what I imagine his role would be. 43. The Sweet House of Horrors, One for the Road, Louis XI, Shattered Power, Hands of Gold, just a bunch of French stuff, tons of French stuff as you can guess by his name. So, anything else about him stand out to you other than seeing him hang dong?
Yeah, jeez. Brothers hanging brain. When that happened, I'm like, they're not going to show this, because she like got down and I'm like, oh no. And then she like pulls him close and you see it. I'm like, what the hell? And then I look, it's not rated. So
yeah, it's an Italian movie, dude. They'll be showing that stuff off.
Yeah, just didn't expect it.
Next up is his love interest, Lilith, as played by Monet Duvivier, I would say. Fortunately, she only has like two. Strike It Rich and Wings of Fame. So that's it for her. And then finally, last is Noah, is played by Christian Fremont. The Future is Woman and La Diabolice. An interesting fact about Christian Fremont, he wasn't even actually... oh no, he was credited as Chris Fremont. Never mind. I thought he wasn't credited for some reason. But never mind. Well, it's good that he was credited because he has a very gruesome death in this. It'd be very funny not to credit that guy.
Yeah. And thanks to our friends, the names escape me right now, but the people that did was it Night of the Demon?
Night of the Demons?
Yeah.
Wait, is that what are you talking about?
Is that the director? What was his name?
Oh, of Night of the Demons?
Man.
Night of the Demon is a British film, by the way, so that's not the one.
Night of the Demons, sorry.
Yeah, Night of the Demons. Man, put me on the spot. I'm glad this wasn't the trivia question. Jeez.
Kevin Tenney.
Yeah, Kevin Tenney.
they did the commentary over the movie.
Oh yeah,
and they talked about freaking out about burning. Like they had so much trouble with the fire scene because of the burn suit. And in this one, you definitely can see when Noah or Chris Fremont or Christian Fremont is burnt and running through the bar, you can see the burn suit like on the guy, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad you can see the burn suit and the guy wasn't like hurt. That's fine.
No, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I just thought I wouldn't have noticed what that was if I had not. I've never seen a burn suit on fire like that because they usually hide it. You usually don't see it.
That's true. Yeah. Well, this time he had to be on fire with rats. You see, that's the difference.
And hey, folks, I hate to tell you, some of those rats died.
They certainly did.
So they're like, hey, you're probably thinking like, hey, how'd some of those rats die on set? I'm going to tell you, about half of them probably in that scene.
Yeah, they did. They light a dude on fire. I don't know. They couldn't have been great conditions for the rats. They're like in groups, but it kind of reminded me of, okay, so before we get into the plot description and everything. So one thing that this movie actually reminded me of was The Nest, the cockroach swarm movie we watched. And the reason is because the, what is it? They'd show like the roaches.
The roach
it's like,
approach?
oh, they're on. Yeah, the roaches. The roach approach is happening, but they cut to the roaches and they're just like doing their thing. They're not
just like hanging out,
moving as one. It's the same with the rats. They're just kind of like minding their own business. There's like one scene I'll get into where they're like walking slowly through a room. It's like, oh no, are the rats gonna attack them? And the rats like actively move out of the way. Like, I don't think these rats hate you.
And in some of the scenes, you can see where they like dyed food pellets to match like look like debris like in the background, and the rats are like eating the pellets when they did a close-up. It's towards the end of the movie.
So why would we eat humans without these delicious pellets?
Yeah, well, because they're trying to get them to go into the room and like do stuff in there. So there's just food pellets all over the ground. The rats are just munching down,
just going ham on it. Now, without any further ado, let's do the plot description. Insert the song Rats by
Ghost. Yeah. Insert lawsuit.
Can I go directly to lawsuit, please?
Go to jail. Do not collect $200.
I went to a Ghost concert, the one that was at the Starlight Pavilion or whatever. And
I heard they're great live.
Yeah, they're pretty good. A lot of people dress like clergy, which is kind of weird. But I mean, I guess their aesthetic, but it's just very strange because the two bands that were there were Amon Amarth and Ghost. It's like, okay, so one is like doing like fake Pope stuff, and the other one is doing fake Norse stuff. It's like, hey, why not? But we don't have time for that. We have to talk about Rat's Night of Terror. So back to the plot description. Narrator and opening text in case you wanted to do both. So apparently, Shane, let me tell you what happened. In the Christian year 2015, atomic bombs destroyed the planet, forcing survivors to head underground. They called that period after the bomb because they're very creative in the future, the past future, as it were. So that was the period of the second human race. But a century after that, so I guess 2115, some people were like hating on the underground system and revolted, and they decided to return to the surface, calling themselves the New Primitives. The two communities do not interact, and those underground are considered sophisticated, and they hate the primitives. So the underground folks, not about that primitive life. So this story now begins on the surface of the earth in the year 225 AB. That's after the bomb, Shane, in case you're wondering. So 2015, so 9 years ago, atomic war obliterates the planet. Dunzilla. 225 years later, we're starting our story, buddy. Like, man, I can't believe that this Once Upon a Time in America set survived that long. All right. So smash cut to an iguana. So I guess iguanas survived. Oh, wait, there's 2 iguanas. There's also what I thought was very funny. There's like a skeleton in a burned out truck. I'm like, is that like after 2.25 centuries? Or is it just a recently dead person who was fighting these people?
So I was thinking about that.
Okay.
Is it like it definitely looked like a like recently like looted like Mad Max kind of thing, and that's kind of the vibe I got from this.
Yeah, they're driving around in a plethora of vehicles and guns, and
right.
Unlike Mad Max, they don't really have like a set aesthetic. It seems like their aesthetics are kind of all over the place. But yeah, we get some
say that again.
We get some upbeat 80s music as a motorcycle joins a bunch of other vehicles in the rocky alcove where the vehicles are parked. The opening credits start with a very stylish title drop in red. Was it drippy text, or was that supposed to be like little rats at the bottom of the text? It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I thought it was drippy, but
it looked drippy to me, but it also didn't look drippy enough. But definitely didn't look like rats. Either way, the credits roll and the caravan heads out, which results in those 2 iguanas we just met fleeing. So I guess 2 of our favorite characters already leaving the movie. Yeah, so after some shots of the caravan, driving around a somewhat desolate countryside, a lot of very desert-like or, kind of like underbrush countryside, they arrive at what appears to be a village of some kind. It almost looks like New York in the early 1900s.
You don't say.
Yeah, in the era of a Once Upon a Time in America style movie. I don't know why. But yeah. So we the team get there. We get our first look at Kurt pulling up in his motorcycle. You'll recognize Kurt from his very slick scarf he's wearing. I don't know if that's an ascot or is it just like a nice.
It's a scarf.
It's just a nice scarf, right?
Yeah, ascots I thought they're smaller, aren't they?
They are, yes. Ask Fred Jones of Scooby-Doo. So yeah, but anyways, we also see Chocolate. She's got, how do you describe her aesthetic? It's kind of like pseudo-military fatigues, really big 80s hair with like a headband.
The Warriors, that's her aesthetic.
Okay, the Warriors, gotcha. Cool.
Like the do you get that though? Like, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after regarding the scene briefly, the entire squad rides into the center of what I'm assuming is supposed to be a town, and they commence the process of dismounting their mobiles. And then a very weird scene happens where Kurt waves, and out the back of a truck, another motorcyclist just drives out and then parks next to Kurt. It's like, why didn't you just leave your motorcycle in the truck? Why'd you have to ride it out? You didn't do anything.
And why did he have to wait till it was safe?
Yeah, it's like, my motorcycle is really special. I mean, ask any dude who has a motorcycle, though, and they're often quite precious about those things. So yeah, Kurt dismounts, looks around and waves to the group, and then the group starts cheering, and everyone else dismounts. So that was his like, come on, guys, we're going to go in there and look and get in there. They're looking around suspiciously, I'm assuming, because in the post-apocalyptic world, they are probably Mad Maxing, like you said. So there's often probably conflict. And that village is actually an ideal place to, ambush somebody because of all the high buildings and the windows. And like, they could have easily been destroyed right there if there was another group there. But there weren't another group there, Shane. It's like something happened to make it so that people can't live there anymore.
I wonder what it was.
I don't know. Perhaps this night of terror will help us figure it out. So yeah, the group, Kurt breaks open the door of a building and leads the group inside. I'm going to have a hard time remembering their names, so let me try to go through them really fast, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, oh no, I'll wait till this next scene. So inside, they're in like a bar of some sort. Kurt waves to a guy we'll later learn is Video. He waves him to investigate behind the bar. On the bar, there is a rat. Video attempts to catch it and makes a joke about being hungry, and the gang laughs because they eat rats, I guess. But apparently, in this case, they're going to the only place where the goose chases you, if you know what I mean.
Hey.
Yeah. So this is where we finally see the full group when they go in there. And like I said, the aesthetic is all over the place. Some are dressed like bikers, some hippies, some like a marching band. It's like everyone's going to a costume party. So let me go through everybody and try to describe them really quick. So I'll just get back to my cast list. So you have Kurt. He's got like a beard. He's got like wavy hair. He's got a scarf. But other than that, he just kind of looks like a regular dude. His scarf is really his thing. Chocolate, she's wearing, like I said, the fatigues, the headband with the big hair. Yeah, like you said, very the Warriors aesthetic. Video, kind of like a white dude fro, along with jean vest.
Like Revenge of the Nerds, kind of.
Yeah, well, and then a blue jean vest, which is cool because we all love blue jean vests, right? Deus, the one that you had compared to Tien Shinhan. So he's got a shaved head, but with a pony, like a little ponytail top knot thing on the top. He's got like a tattoo of like some kind of symbol on his forehead. It's like a triangle with a circle around it. It's like something spiritual, clearly. And then what else does he have beyond that? It's like a baggy shirt and like big pants, kind of.
He had like the outfit from the Mortal Kombat ninjas, because he had like that triangle pointed like over vest thing.
Yes, the triangular over vest. Yeah, he very Eastern inspired sort of look. We have Diana, who she's just got kind of like the leather, like tough blonde 80s look going on, Myrna is more or less the same. And it kind of tracks that she would kind of model her look after Diana, because, Myrna is kind of the character, as we'll learn, is the weak link of the group, more or less. We have Duke. Duke is the one who's wearing the marching band outfit with like the big tassely shoulder pads and stuff.
Yeah, super weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Taurus is more like your biker dude. He's just got he's a big tough guy with a big stash and a big leather outfit on. Lucifer, honestly, I couldn't even tell you the first thing about Lucifer, other than he had kind of like his hair was up in like a top knot kind of thing. His sides of his head were shaved. Other than that, I think he was mostly biker looking. Lilith looked like she was going to a Halloween party. She had like she had like a low cut bodice on with a cape. I'm like, where are you going?
How about those name choices though?
Yeah, no,
like Lilith and Lucifer. I thought that was pretty on point.
Yeah, it definitely. The thing that I thought was interesting about the group was they were clearly like a ragtag band. Like they all probably had different things that brought them together. Like they didn't start this journey together. They ended up together. And that's evident in some of the conflicts and the relationships between the group members. And then finally you have Noah, and Noah's just kind of like a hippie guy, right? Like he's got shaggy hair, he's got glasses, he's got a beard, he's got just like he's got the hippie look down, and it kind of tracks because as we'll find out, he's very interested in hydroponics. So there you go. I just wanted to go through all their looks because not gonna have time for that as they're getting devoured by vermin.
Well, you forgot Video can win any game.
Okay. Video. So everyone seems to think Video's a genius. I think Video is an idiot. He's just the luckiest person on earth. It's like if somebody had put all of their stats in Fallout into luck, because he literally never knows what he's doing. It's just things just happen for him. Oh no, not charisma. All in luck.
All in luck. Okay.
Yes. It makes it so he sometimes passes what charisma checks that shouldn't work because of his luck. So there you go. Yeah, anyways, back to the group, where they're at. We just got done with the rat situation. They what was it? Video finds like this old fridge sort of thing full of rats, just loaded with rats. He notes that this is probably the nest where the one rat came from that was on the bar, and Video's joking about ways to cook them. And they hear him doing that, so he's in trouble now.
Yep.
Yeah, he just names a bunch of like old rat recipes from his like grandma or something.
He's like, I hope I remember my grandma's rat recipes or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, whatever you say, Video. And the group continues to explore, and I'm going to tell you right now, I had a hard time keeping track of like the geography of this building. It's because there's at one point where I was 100% sure the room they were walking through is the bar room, and they get to the bar room like, well, then what room was that? So I'm gonna often.
That was the bar entrance bar room.
There's gonna be times where I'm gonna be just confused. I might say the wrong room. It's like, whatever, man. I don't have time to like map out this place where people are gonna get devoured by rats. So the group arrives in like some kind of bunk room. There's like a bunch of beds around like it's kind of like a dome shaped like windowed roof, and then like all of the stuff around it. And I only bring that up because one of the characters is like, oh, crazy architecture. The group then notice a series of large green boxes in the center of the room, and then also on the shelves in the back of the room, the back wall. One of the gang members opens it, and they find cans, and everyone else checks theirs, and they just find various foodstuffs, right? There's like a jar of pasta, there's like jars of fruits, there's like, bags of flour, like there's sugar, like someone's just eating sugar, like just grabbing sugar.
The marching band loser is just like sucking down sugar.
Yeah, Duke's like, it's sugar, guys. He just starts like stuffing sugar down his throat.
You'd think that in a world where food is so scarce, apparently, that they would be more prone to literally conserving it instead of throwing it all over each other.
No, literally in my notes I put with everyone just starts devouring whatever they find without any mind towards rationing whatsoever. Like they're just in a feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that scene that is sometimes memed of Shane from The Walking Dead when he finds that truck with all those like huge jugs of water and he just opens one, lets it pour onto him and onto the ground. I'm like, buddy, people are dying. Like, what are you doing? Don't dump an entire perfectly good jug of water on yourself just because you're excited to see water, bro. And that's why Rick had to take over as leader of the group.
Carl had to kill him.
Got it. Yeah, had to. And then
that water waster.
That's what and as if to prove my point that like these people.
Why'd you do it, Carl?
Coral.
Rick.
We are the Walking Dead. Do they have like a spinoff now? It's like Walking Dead, like Rick Grimes later or something.
I don't know, Michonne or whatever. I don't know.
What a disaster that show became. I got to tell you, like, I'm not going to get into it. I think I've gotten into it in episodes before. I'm sure our listeners are sick of me talking about it, but man, what a drop off that show had, even compared to the comics, which also had a drop off, but the show was like so much worse of a drop off.
Hey, you want to hear a hot take?
Yes.
I think that creator is a horrible writer, and he did the same exact thing he did to himself in the comics he did in the show. Like,
are you talking about the show was just Robert Kirkman?
Yeah, I think he had a good idea and some stories, and then when he tried to expand it, it just failed miserably.
He definitely he got too big for himself, and he started like trying to do like really shocking things in order to like look at how crazy things have gotten. It's like it started out really grounded and interesting, and now you're just kind of like cereal of the week kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. I feel like he does similar things in Invincible, but at the end of the day, I think I prefer Invincible. So if you want to read something of Robert Kirkman's, I would probably go with Invincible over The Walking Dead. I will say Invincible still has some of the weaknesses that Robert Kirkman has, which is that I don't think he's very good at writing dialogue for the most part.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty bad at it.
Which I think helped him in Walking Dead because there's a lot of solitude happening. Like there, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like somberness. I don't know. This isn't a Walking Dead podcast, but I'm not a fan of his writing. I think he's really good at creating ideas, like kind of like George Lucas. He's really good at concepts. He's the concepts of stories, right?
He's the concept of a story.
Yeah, no, but he's really good at like ideas and like how things should play out and stuff. But the beat to beat stuff is so rough, especially once he, like again, like I think he, like you said, he's trying to do stuff for the sake of doing it, like for shock value. Because like when you watch that show and you didn't read the comics and you kind of didn't really have an idea what was going on, like some of those deaths were like crazy.
Yeah, they're very jarring.
Yeah, and then eventually it got to a point where it was like, I don't know, it just kind of lost its like effect, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that was the thing, is like he basically, anytime he wanted to introduce a new villain, he would just sacrifice a character or characters to be like, look how serious this villain is. And it's like,
right,
all right, I get it. But like, cause he literally does the same thing with Negan as he does later on with the Whisperers or whatever. Like,
yeah, right.
Just kill a bunch of characters to prove how serious these characters are. It's like, oh, cool.
And then Terminus was like one episode.
Oh yeah, the show. Well, yeah, Terminus wasn't in the comics, so that was like they kind of mixed up a couple of concepts from the comic to make Terminus happen. So, but no, yeah, either way, whatever.
But it's like they don't even show it. They're just like, yeah, we beat their ass.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, cool.
Good job, guys.
You did it. But no more time for The Walking Dead. They've already gotten years of shows, and now they have like 3 spinoffs running or something, right? They have like Maggie show, Norman Reedus show, and then Rick Grimes show.
Yeah, I was hoping Chris Chadwick or Chris Hardwick would have sunk that. Should have died with him.
It was too big to fail, dude.
But now he's like a game show host, so whatever.
Yeah. Do you want to get into more actors that should have been canceled by their unsavory allegations against them? Or shall we get back to rats eating folks?
Yeah, let's go back to rats eating folks.
Love that.
Fun afternoon for us.
Random. All right. Well, as if to prove my point about the rationing, Kurt finds a bag of flour, eats some of it, just a handful of flour in your mouth, which is not chill. And then he pours the rest of it onto Chocolate, who laughs and says, "I'm whiter than all of you," and then starts dancing around, and everyone else dances with her. It's like, all right, so we're going to make like a weird kind of race-oriented joke, and then everyone's just going to dance around and continue to waste food. You know, Myrna jumps to lay down on one of the beds, but then she sees some movement under the covers. So she's curious, so she lifts the covers to find a mutilated corpse being devoured by rats. She screams, the first of many. The other women join her in screaming. Kurt tells them to stop screaming because it's not like it's their first dead body they've ever seen. Kurt assumes... What?
What's just screaming about? It's like, well, obviously you know what the screaming is about.
You've seen other dead people. What are you screaming about?
Yeah.
But Kurt, not a medical examiner by any means. Kurt assumes that the corpse was killed by someone in an attempt to get these supplies, and then orders the rest of the group to explore the place. I think somebody made a reference to something like, "Then why are the supplies still here?" Then, like,
right.
No time for logic in this world. I think they start to explore to find out what they can find out. Out of the bar, what is it? Taurus. Taurus sees a rat on the bar, and he makes a crack about it being a customer looking for a drink, so Video slides a glass down at it, scaring it away and almost hitting it. That's what I mean. They're very antagonistic towards the rats, so it's like, maybe if they'd been a little nicer, the rats would have understood that these aren't the people that are their enemies, because we're going to find out later that these people just stepped into a civil war. We'll get into it.
Right.
We'll get into it.
Which would have been a way cooler movie.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. What is it? Kurt notices that the rats are no longer in the fridge by the bar where they were earlier. So everyone's like, oh, they must have been scared off. Taurus, still kind of being a jerk, starts kicking some rats and talking about how there's too many rats and they're gross. And Duke was the one telling Taurus how many rats there were. And then Taurus spots a white-faced rat. Shane, remember that rat. That's like the boss rat. So he spots the white-faced rat. He attempts to get at it from behind some chairs that are in a pile like across from the bar. Duke is with Taurus. They're both trying to get at this rat. And then Duke is bit on the hand, and then the rat like latches onto his face. Before, he pulls it off and tosses it to the ground and shoots at it. But he doesn't hit it because that's the boss rat. So Kurt's group, wherever they are, like I said, I don't know where everything is. Kurt's group hear the shot, but then they find another corpse. This one's like doing kind of the, what's her name? Norma Bates. Is Norman's mother's name Norma?
I don't remember. Hold on.
Yeah, it's Norma. So yeah, this corpse is doing like the Norma Bates thing. She's like, it's like sitting in a chair facing a window, and everyone's like, hey, hey person, who are you? But yeah, they turn the chair and it's, a corpse. It's also been eaten, but it was chilling in a chair at least, it wasn't under covers in a bed. Chocolate and Myrna find a pile of rats, but then get scared from behind by Video doing a jump scare. Chocolate is not amused. Kurt and Diana find a wardrobe, which is there's a wardrobe and there's like a shelf with a bunch of hat cases full of hats, and the wardrobe's full of clothes. Diana tries on a hat, but then she goes to talk to Kurt, like, Kurt, how do you like this hat? When she walks in front of the open wardrobe and a corpse somehow falls out. And it sounds like it's making a noise, but I think that's just supposed to be the music. But yeah, somehow a corpse falls out and Diana screams.
It's like it played a guitar note or something.
Yeah, but so this is the funny thing though, is so we had a scene of what was it, Myrna and Chocolate screaming when they find rats. And we have a scene of Diana screaming when she gets a corpse fall on her. But neither of those scenes are addressed. Everyone's just back together in another room. I'm like, this editing seems like we should have reacted to those two events, because later on, anytime someone screams, they know. So Kurt's moving on to what we'll later learn is the computer room. It's like a room that has like a full like computers set on it and stuff like that. Lilith is with, who is she with? She's with Noah. So yeah, she's with Noah in somewhere where it's like really, really dark. They're having trouble with the light that they have. But they decide to move forward slowly anyway. She says she wished she'd stayed with Lucifer. It's like, hey, don't give my man Noah that business. Some of the
put that evil on him.
Don't you put that evil on me. Back to Kurt in the technology room or whatever. Now joined again by like everybody else, including the Diana, who's apparently unfazed by the corpse that just fell on her, possibly making a noise. They're all looking at this like computer thing. It's technology they don't understand. Deus is like, I don't know what that is. And then Video comes to the room. It's like, I know exactly what it is. It's a video game, because that's how I got my name and I can make it work. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, what's happening here? And then Chocolate says like, how does she phrase this? She's like, I'll make you pregnant if you can make it work. I'm like, what were these people like? How does that work? But yeah, Deus and Diana are cheering Video on, being like, we know you can make it work. We know you can make it work, Video. And Diana's like, yeah, you're a genius, Video. I'm like, is he though? Because he doesn't seem to know anything about what he's doing. But then he just starts hitting random buttons and switches, and it actually turns on and powers up the place. That's what I mean. His luck stat is huge. Like, it's crazy that worked for him. And he believes it's a video game for like way too long. So now we go to some hydroponics lab.
It's pretty easy to win a video game if it isn't actually a video game.
Yeah, for sure. So we're back in like some hydroponics room, which is where Lilith and Noah ended up when the power turned on. And that's why I'm like, oh, so like Noah must be a hippie, because he instantly recognizes like, oh, this is a greenhouse or whatever, like a plant, like grow plants inside. And this is a water purifier that purifies the water for the plants and for drinking. And Lilith is like, why would they grow plants inside? And like Noah's like, I know why, but it's too difficult to explain. And just never bothers to explain it to Lilith. So I'm like, why are these people together? They don't seem to want to hang out.
It's for food.
It's for, yeah. Yeah, it's for my medicinal food. Yeah. So back in the computer room, Video's talking about how he doesn't know what kind of video game it is. And Deus is like, it's because it's not a video game, dude. It's a computer, which we all already knew. But Video's like, what? He's like, I never get to find a video game. And he like kicks the machine out of anger, which then triggers some kind of blue screen with like codes flashing on it. And then
again, luck stat.
Well, that's what I mean. Deus is like, I think Video might have asked it a question by mistake. And Video's like, I wonder what I asked. And the screen prints out the words total group. They say it says total group elimination, but it definitely says total elimination group. They got their words a little mixed up. So Kurt's like, oh, I wonder what that means. And then Deus says it must mean that all the bodies that are dead are like, that's the group, they were eliminated. Suddenly, Lilith busts into the computer room to tell them, yo, we found this, I don't know what she calls it, but she's like, you got to go check this out, basically bringing them to the hydroponics lab. So they never say hydroponics, but that's exactly what it is. So down there, Noah is describing to them all about like how it works and, what the water purification is. Kurt is suspicious that despite all of the people's knowledge, they managed to get killed. So he's like, something must be going on here. I think it was Duke or somebody like just starts splashing water around like an idiot. Like they're just having a good time.
Probably Duke.
It seems like a Duke thing. Plus he's probably got like rat infection now because he's been bitten twice by rats. I never thought about that. If that's what helps precipitate Duke's like eventual turn to villainy, is that he's like suffering from rat sickness.
Ooh, I didn't really think of that either.
Yeah, I just thought of it now when I was going through, because I always forget that he got bit in that scene, because he has much more memorable scenes later of being like a bad dude with Tude. Yeah, but then we cut to outside. The group's throwing all of the eaten bodies into the street and burning them. using, what was it, like a huge flamethrower that I guess Kurt just always had. Sweet.
The one gun I wanted them to use and they never do is that weird, like, shotgun looking thing that he had all the time that he would like give the people, like, here, take this.
Oh yeah, and it had like 3 barrels or something, didn't it? It was like a huge thing.
Yeah, it looked like they taped a router to like a toy gun or something.
That's probably part of why they never used it, is because they couldn't actually make it do anything.
Yeah, like, how's it gonna work? Like, they're like, oh shit.
It's like, oh man, we built the gun, but we can't fire it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we get a long scene with some synth music swelling as the camera pans across the faces of the group while they watch all the corpses burn. Deus says, Requiescat in pace, which we all know from playing Assassin's Creed 2 means rest in peace. Kurt has never played Assassin's Creed 2 because it presumably burned up. So Kurt asks, what the hell is that? And Deus says that it's this old holy words for the dead. It's sort of funny that Kurt doesn't know Italian, even though the actor is very much an Italian actor. So I wonder if that was like a purposeful joke or just like a little something for the fans. Later on, it is nighttime. Video approaches Chocolate while she's laying in bed and says that he wants to claim his reward for the bet. Chocolate says she's too tired. Typical, am I right? And then tells him to put it on the tab. And Video tries to insist, but she gives him a kiss and then stops and says, that's a down payment. That seems to satisfy Video. He's like, yeah, that's fine. He's not that toxic of a guy. So he's going to accept her refusal and departs.
But hey, you know who is?
Who is a toxic person?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're talking about Duke or Lucifer. Oh, probably Lucifer.
Well, both, yeah. Yeah. More Lucifer.
More Lucifer in this case, yeah. Outside, we see the smoke from the bodies rising up. As night falls, we see huge swarms of rats in various areas throughout the town and also near the group's vehicles. Just cutting around to different places and having groups of rats just kind of milling about. That's the funny part. It's supposed to be sinister. The music wants it to be sinister. but they're just...
It's definitely not.
They're just trying to have a nice night.
Just doing rat stuff.
Then, what is it? Back inside, the camera pans along the bunk room. We see everyone in their beds. They're awake and they're doing whatever thing their personality wants them to do. Like Duke is cleaning his shotgun. Video's just kind of looking around. Kurt and Diana are cuddling on their bed. Deus is like, sitting with like his legs crossed, like meditating. So, but also as it's panning, we hear the sounds of intercourse happening. So it's like, oh man, this must be very restful for everyone, which probably explains why everyone's wide awake. We smash cut to more.
You think it'd be in the next room, right?
Yeah. Instead of it's like it's gonna keep panning. It's in the same room. But spoiler alert for it soon. But yeah, smash cut to more rats. We also hold the camera for a little bit on white face rat. Then did you notice that all the rats had red eyes, even though most of those species of rat don't have red eyes? I'm assuming that was an effect, an after effect they added.
It's not.
It's not.
No. If you notice towards the end of the movie, I think they shot this in order. The rats start to lose their color. So the white-faced rat isn't special. They just dyed all the rats. So it looks like they put soot on them. So they're actually albino rats, which are easy to get. They're like, and then they just rub them with some kind of either soot or like powder or painted them like spray paint. So all those rats are actually albino rats. That's how they got the eyes. They go pink.
Wait, so white-faced rat wasn't a special rat? They kept cutting to him all the time. And he died a special death.
I know. I just think because they were like, oh shit, this rat didn't get its face. No, it looks cool.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And maybe that's how they knew. I don't know. Like I'm telling you, because like the whole time, like how do they get that effect on the eyes? And then like as you watch the movie, the rats become less and less dirty from just moving around and stuff. And then when they start doing close-ups on the rats, you can actually see like the roots on their hair are white. So they actually kind of look shiny. It's just because of the white underneath the black.
All right. Well, never mind. A white-faced rat is not special. He's just another rat.
I'm sure for the plot it's special, but like...
it was special to me.
Yeah, but I'm sure they could have used black or different types of rats, but from the ones that I've seen, like any scene where they have pink eyes, I think they somehow applied something to the rats to make them black or brown or whatever color. I don't know that for a fact. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
From watching the movie
All right.
times.
Fair enough. But it doesn't matter because we're going to cut back to inside and we finally see the source of the intercourse sounds. It's Lucifer and Lilith. They're just boning down in a sleeping bag on the ground. Like they're in a single sleeping bag. Much to the annoyance of Taurus, who's in the bed next to them, who's like, stop it. We're trying to sleep. He's like throwing stuff at them. And then Kurt is finally like
normal. He's like a normal person.
Yeah. And Kurt's like, yeah, Taurus is right. If you want to do that, go outside and do it. And because it's Kurt saying it, Lucifer like acquiesces and decides to, fine, or whatever they go. But they're unable to.
He was just about to blast off.
Yeah. I forgot he said that. Like, I was just about to blast off. It's like, oh, Lucifer, TMI, buddy. But then, this is important. This is what we call Chekhov's zipper. So they're unable to.
This should be a zipper brand company. Should have.
They are unable to get the zipper open to free themselves from the sleeping bag. So everyone else is just making fun of them. Finally, Taurus, who just wants them to get out of there. He gets up and he's able to like get the zipper open. And what does he say? He says, "Calmness is the virtue of the strong." And it's like, is that a joke or something? Everyone laughs like it is. I'm like, is it? Calmness is the virtue of the strong? Like, that's so weird. I guess the implication is they were panicking, couldn't get it open. But then we get to outside and Lucifer is mad. He's seething with rage at everyone making them leave. It's like, hey man, like just be a normal person. Don't bone down in a room with all of your friends. But Lilith calms him down by making out with him. And it turns out the power of boners is the strongest power in the universe. And he's able to stop him from being angry. And then, and this is the part, your favorite part, where you get to see his wiener. Yay. Thanks for that. Italian movies.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So, they go to lay down in their sleeping bag to get at it. But not little they know, in the same shot, there's rats everywhere. So probably going to be a problem for them. Cut back down to Noah in the hydroponics lab. He's having a great evening. He's eating some fruit. He overhears a noise and he like turns to look, but he doesn't see anything, but the camera does. And we get a nice slow camera zoom as like it zooms in on a rat sitting on a box behind him. It's like looking at the camera.
Like menacingly.
Yeah.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
That was like one of the first scenes. I was like, oh, I like this movie. Like it's just gonna zoom in past him to a rat chilling behind him. Just and the rat's actually looking at the camera. Like, how'd they get that rat to do that? And then Noah goes to look at some kind of like, I don't know, is that cathode tubes or something? Some kind of like machinery, like science looking glass machinery.
Something.
Yeah. But then as he's looking at that, it cuts back to the rat in the room with them and it just looks away. Like it looks really bored. I'm like, this rat is not concerned about him. Back to Lucifer and Lilith, who, were doing the intercourse earlier. They're laying together in the afterglow in a very awkward position. It seems that she's tamed Lucifer's wild rage. Oh, but then he goes to kiss her again. And then she says that, because like he says something like he thinks that they're a good fit. It's like, oh, that's kind of nice. Lucifer has like a calm side. But then when she says she's too tired and also he's too violent, Lucifer proves her right by getting angry and getting dressed and storming off. So Lilith is like, okay, well, way to go, buddy. She just like goes and wraps herself in the sleeping bag. I'm sure that there's nothing that'll go wrong with this sleeping bag situation.
Not at all.
Yeah. No way, this could go wrong. Lucifer goes to the bar area. There's some rat screeches that bring to his attention there's alcohol bottles behind the bar. I don't know if the rats are trying to draw his attention to it. It's kind of hard to tell how smart the rats are most of the time. But yeah, he checks a few bottles and he finds one. I don't know if he was like looking for one with liquid in it or if he's looking for something specific. Either way, he gets one. He looks up when he hears more rat sound, but the budget wasn't allowing any more rats, so he didn't see any. Downstairs, Noah's still enjoying himself. He's just like looking at plants, chilling in the hydroponics lab. But then he hears more rats and he sees that rats are coming in through the cathode ray tube things or whatever they are, like those glass tubes. And he also sees they're coming in through the water purifier. He tries to stop them, but then they start attacking him. It's like, no, don't ruin my perfect paradise I found. This was going to be my life.
Like, you're ruining our water. He's like, you're the reason our water's tainted.
Yeah, but like, I think about this. Like, does that mean that the rats like don't usually deal with the water? Like they let it get purified so that they can lure people in with it or something?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, Lucifer, having, stepped away, he's out imbibing alcohol somewhere. He finds a phone and he's like, why won't this phone ring? And then he pretends to like answer the phone. He notices that there's a pile of rats nearby, and then he starts just drunkenly shooting at a building. I think it's because he hears the squeaks of rats in the buildings, but that one, most of the time the sound effects of rats like at least suggest where they are. That scene I wasn't really able to tell. But then I
thought he was hallucinating from the liquor. That's probably 180 years old.
Oh, so he's just like shooting wildly, like, I'm having a time.
Yeah, I think he was just seeing shit.
I was just surprised that he knew how a phone worked.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, so but then he sees like piles of rats like around the vehicles. He becomes alarmed and he's like backing away, yelling at the rats. Back to the bunker room. Everyone is finally fallen asleep now that there's not intercourse noises to wake them up. But then Myrna is jarred awake by the sound of rats squeaking. So I guess it suggests that there's like rats all over the place. But then outside where Lilith is in the sleeping bag, we see Whiteface Rat. He walks out, or at least a character that I believed was Whiteface Rat. And then it cuts to a rat eye POV, which is just the camera in a low, like down low and also red tinted. It's looking at Lilith sleeping and starts walking towards her. Elsewhere, drunken Lucifer drops his alcohol bottle into like, I don't know, some kind of shaft down into like a ditch down a ladder. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, it looked like you know what it looked like? You know those service entrances like in the city or like a sewer entrance?
Yeah, like cause it was like a shaft, like it was
the grate was just missing.
Yeah, well, the grate was open.
Yeah, it was like up.
Yeah, the grate was open, and so he like drops his bottle down into like that service tunnel corridor or whatever. Mm-hmm. He thinks it didn't break, but I'm guarantee you it probably broke. And he tries to like reach down to get it because he's drunk. He like kind of falls, but finds himself like sort of wedged, like he's holding the ladder and his feet are like on the other side of the shaft opening, but his body is like below it. So like he's in like a really weird position. It's actually kind of crazy that the actor was able to do that. It looked like it was very uncomfortable. But
almost as uncomfortable as getting dead rats thrown at you.
Almost. Which speak of the devil, Lucifer, that is, when he's wedged, he's a rat kind of falls from the building above him onto him. He laughs at first, and then suddenly a fountain of rats start pouring onto him. It's like, those are probably all dead. Those are almost all dead rats just being poured on him. That'll be the last we see of Lucifer for a while, so stay tuned. Back at Lilith's sleeping bag, Whiteface Rat goes to the bottom of the sleeping bag, and seems to be gnawing into it, going in. Lilith is startled as she feels the rat moving around, and then presumptively starting to eat its way inside of her. So she's in trouble. Look,
that rat straight up Lemmy Winkster her.
Ew, you think so?
Where else did it go in?
I don't know. I didn't really think much about it.
Because they're like, there's no cuts or anything. I'm like, oh, he must have strangled her in a rage.
Oh, yeah, I guess it probably, it must have entered through a place where it could
two options.
Yeah, ew, that's gross. Well, either way, yeah. Well, also never mind. We don't have to get into it. But, however, as the...
Good luck getting that out of your head.
Yeah, no, thank you. So anyways, as established by Chekhov's zipper earlier, she can't get out. So she's like writhing around trying to get out of there while the rat's in there like doing its thing. She screams, alerting the rest of the group because this time they can actually hear screams, I guess, unlike earlier. So the group, gets there and, they see that she's dead and just assume that Lucifer did it. It's like, why are you guys in a gang with a guy that you assume would have immediately killed his girlfriend? So Kurt tosses Taurus a gun. And we get some intense music as the gang runs out together, like ready to fight. They assume that it was Lucifer. Did they actually say? They didn't. I didn't actually say the part where they. Oh no, because they haven't gotten to her yet. So this is just them getting alerted. So they assume that Lucifer must have done something to hurt Lilith. So that's when Kurt tosses Taurus a gun, and then they run out to try to like stop whatever altercation they're having.
Right.
Along the way, the gang's passing increasing number of rats, but they finally get to where Lilith is, and that's when they assume Lucifer must have murdered her. That's when like Kurt opens the sleeping bag and he's like, there's no wounds, so Lucifer must have strangled her in his passion. Even though, again, I've watched enough Law and Order to know that there'd be ligature marks from strangulation, but apparently these people, again, not medical examiners. Diana, however, remarks that her eyes are full of terror, perhaps because it's a night of terror, Shane. And Myrna says that she doesn't think Lucifer would do it. It's like, Myrna, you just hate rats. You always suspect a rat. Then a rat suddenly runs near them to prove that maybe it could be something else. And then, as if summoned by the presence of another rat, so this is a pretty gnarly scene. Lilith's mouth starts to open, and like, what is it? Someone's like, she's trying to speak, and it's like, but she's dead.
Lemmy Winks came to the stomach dark, neath the depths of the lungs and heart.
You chose your path wisely, Lemmywinks. I am the catata-fish.
Catata-fish of the stomach's cove.
If you answer this riddle, the esophagus will let you pass.
Catata-fish's riddle will soon be told.
And they all sit there and watch as a rat is emerging from Lilith's mouth. We get some screaming shots from Diana and Myrna. But Myrna, she goes like totally bananas. She's like, it's like, they're going to eat us all. Like, she's just screaming that. Yeah, this is like she was having a hard time earlier. This is the end of her good time. She's just going to be totally bananas the rest of this time. Video's trying to tell her that rats don't eat people. It's like, oh, Video. Again, your intelligence stat, not very high. Although it seems like a lot of these people underestimate rats for way too long. Suddenly, from the... okay, this part's funny. So suddenly from the doorway on the other side of the room, Noah is there, bloodied and with rats on his head and shoulders, still eating him. He's like, kill me!
Yeah.
And Kurt's like, say less, fam, and just like starts blasting him with the
instantly.
With the
I didn't even think twice. Like, couldn't even like hit the rats off of him. It's like I don't even know who you are. Just like starts blasting him with the flamethrower. It was so funny how fast he did it. And actually, the number of times they use the flamethrower on this. Do you say that you flamethrowered somebody or you flame through them? I guess flamethrowered, right? Because the flamethrower is the thing. Like you lawn mower someone, you don't lawn mow someone. But you do mow a lawn, you also throw a flame. All right, I think we figured it out. Yep.
So anyways, they definitely blast Noah. But then Noah just, I don't know what he was thinking here. He just starts running through the room, out all the way through another room and then out a different window on another like room somewhere. I don't know what that was. It's like a tour of being on fire. He goes out a window and then everyone goes out to find him on fire on the ground. And Kurt is like, hey, Duke, finish Noah off. And Duke does because he loves killing. Then Myrna takes the opportunity to have another of her patented freakouts. Don't worry, Myrna's going to have more freakouts. There'll be plenty of more time to get used to her screaming. Then the camera zooms up to the windows and we see, Duke is like looking from window to window. I'm guessing that you can hear scurrying around them. So now they're hearing the scurrying. They don't show the rats for this. It's just the audio of like rats scurrying in the buildings and stuff like that. Duke is like taunting the rats to come out and fight him. And he starts like just firing his shotgun wildly because I guess ammo is just unlimited in like the 225 years after the 2015 nuclear apocalypse.
That's the only thing they still make.
Yeah. The manufacturing stayed in America for bullets, that is. Video suddenly remembers that Lucifer isn't with them. They never found him. And he brings it up to the group. So Kurt has them move to look for him. He splits the group up. Kurt takes Taurus and Chocolate with him. They go down to the hydroponics lab and see all the destruction that's wrought. And there's like rats in the plants and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, this must be where Noah was attacked. And Chocolate's like, well, let's get out of here. We don't want to hang out in the place where Noah's dreams died. But at least he had those brief hours, Shane, where he thought everything would be okay until he got ratted. He got rat-a-tatted.
Ratatouille.
Got ratatouille. So this is actually a really funny scene for me. So they find like a big blast door and they think they hear movement behind it. So they open it and then they just get blasted by a bunch of wind. And there's like bright red lights.
These rats are wizards.
I know. That's what I was thinking. It's like Kurt's like, it's full of rats. And we don't see the rats. It's like, how are the rats producing the wind? Are they Fujin from Mortal Kombat? Like, what's happening? And then they just like slam the door shut. And then like, let's go back to the group. I don't want to let those wind powered rats out.
There's like a rat rave happening. They're just like,
yeah, because it's like bright red lights and just wind blowing everywhere. It's like, what is going on in there?
I want to know more about that room. Go back in there.
I know. They never go back. We never see what was going on in there. That's what I love. It's like, oh, it's full of rats. We never see the rats. We see some supernatural wind coming out of it. But yeah, now the
demon wind.
Oh, perhaps. No, it's not. The whole group is walking into.
You lied.
You lied. But now the whole group, this is one of those like cuts that's like, what? How do we get here? The whole group is just like walking into a room following Myrna. I think it's the room where they found the Norma Bates corpse. She's like crawling on the ground and then she gives like an Oscar-worthy performance of screaming to not let the rats eat her and then like stomping her feet on the ground while she's like sitting against the wall and stuff. And everyone's just standing around her. It's like, all right. And they just turn around and start talking. Like, it's like, oh, it's just Myrna being Myrna. You know how it is. Kurt says that Lucifer has to be around because there's no way out. I put in my notes except through being eaten by rats, but they don't quite understand that yet. The gang go outside again, and from behind, Deus runs up and says, Kurt and the gang that he found Lucifer. And it was at that point that I realized, wait, Deus wasn't even with them that whole time? How did he not get eaten by rats?
I don't know.
Maybe the rats just have a sense of drama. They don't want to like waste some perfectly. They have like, we have a whole night.
In irony.
Dramatic irony. It's like, buddy, we have a whole night of terror. Like, we can't waste that.
Well, judging from the final scene, they have an immense amount of irony.
These rats are showmen. They are just now getting started, buddy.
The greatest showman.
Yeah, the greatest showman. Dude, I cannot wait till we get to the part where the rats are able to do stuff that I don't know how they do it.
I know. I can't wait either.
So yeah, anyways, the gang, follow Deus and they find, Lucifer and down that hatch where we saw him. Now he's bloodied and he's covered with rats. They're eating him, as we suspected. Kurt wastes no time once again and starts flamethrowing to burn Lucifer's body and the rats that are eating him. Which actually, it's kind of funny though that they showed a couple times of Kurt maybe flamethrowing when it wasn't necessary, because he's going to run out of fuel for it. Spoiler alert.
He's like, why does this thing not work? It's like, okay, dude.
Yeah, maybe because you torched your friends without a second thought when you were in immediate danger. I don't know.
Like, was Duke kind of right?
Duke was absolutely right. Duke is the first one to suspect that the rats are up to something. Or other than Myrna.
I'm sorry, not Duke. Who's the asshole with the tassels? Who's the tassel?
That's Duke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Duke. Duke's like the human bad guy, but no, he's right.
Yeah.
Because he's the one saying like, we're in danger. The rats are doing stuff, and like it's Kurt who's like, rats can't do that. No, it's absolutely like, we hate Duke because he's a dick, but he's also correct in some ways. But then, after they burn Lucifer's body, suddenly Taurus approaches the gang. I'm like, wait, where was Taurus this whole time? Like, these people keep coming from off screen. I thought they were already with us, but there's like just enough of them that it's hard to keep track of them from a single shot.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, Taurus tells the gang that they're stuck because the rats have chewed through their tires. So the entire gang like runs to their cars, and then Kurt punches Taurus in the face, telling him that he was supposed to watch the bikes. It's like, was he though? Like we never heard him be told that. Video breaks him up. It's like, hey guys, not now. And Kurt apologizes to Taurus, but Taurus seemed to accept his beating. He's like, yeah, I need to be beat. Duke, however, spits, and this is his first of many times where he is both correct but also angry with Kurt for everything. He says that everyone's now condemned to death, and he blames Kurt for not defending their wheels. And then he's also like, and Kurt panicked and blamed everyone else but himself. It's like, he's kind of right. But Kurt says there's nothing they can do now, so they should go inside, and tomorrow they can sort out what the plan is. Then Duke is like, this is where Duke starts actually spitting facts. Duke says that the rats have decided to trap and kill them, which is why their bikes were put out of commission. And Kurt's like, dude, they're rats. We're humans with human intelligence. It's like, Kurt, you're underestimating your rats. You're gonna learn to regret that. And Kurt says the only reason the others were killed in the first place is because they went off alone. So as long as everyone stays together, they will not get rat attacked. Duke then just like points his gun at Kurt and tells him he's a weak chief and he needs to be eliminated. Duke asks the group, who's with me? But no one really steps up. And Kurt tells him that, all right, we should have a duel then. And then Chocolate's like, come on, guys, don't do it. And then Kurt pushes her away, and they're about to fight. And the whole gang like take a step back. Is like, is this part of their ritual? Like a point blank gun duel? Because let me tell you, I don't think either of them are going to survive that.
I actually thought one of them was going to get shot right away.
Yeah, no, I thought so. But then for some reason, even though it doesn't seem like his character, Duke actually does back down. And Kurt's like, all right, now we need to get some materials. We got to go and make a barricade before the rats get to us. So we get a nice long, it's not really a montage. It's more like a sequence of individual shots of people doing their work to set up barricades. So, not like the building the house montage from Red Dead Redemption 2. Basically, it's like what Diana and Myrna are grabbing wood. Duke and Video are like hammering stuff together. And then I think all the rest of the guys are like putting barricades onto the windows, more or less. It seems to be what it is.
Except for one.
Well, yeah, we'll find that out. Yes. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for shortly in the same scene. But when Diana hands Myrna a pile of wood, there's a spider on it, which results in another annoying scream from Myrna until like Kurt slaps her. It's like, finally, dude, she's been freaking out all the time. It's like, it's just a spider, and slaps her. And then back where Video and Duke are, Video's like, oh no, what's going on? And he's like, do you think the rats are attacking again? And Duke's like, no, that's just Myrna having another bout of hysterics. He's actually right. Again, Duke isn't always wrong. I think he needs to work on his messaging. But Duke's like, whatever, dude, I'm done. I'm going to go stand guard. And then just like leaves. And Video's like, all right, man, peace. But mercifully, we don't have to watch them barricade everything. We cut to the final barricade being put up by Video and Chocolate. Video says that it's the best that they can do, but he's not sure if it'll keep them out. Taurus is like, yeah, I'm surprised by how determined these rats are. And then Myrna is like trying to ask these weird questions that make no sense. She's like, why would they attack us? We didn't do anything to them. Like, I don't know, man. If they're animals, it kind of makes sense if they attack you without reason. If they were intelligent, it would be weirder. And Deus theorizes that an instinct to kill has been awakened. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, what? I always like those lines that, like, especially Deus says, like, an instinct to kill has been awakened. It's like, what are you, like, a Japanese dub of like a fantasy game in like 1998 or something?
Well, I'm telling you, that's why I got the TN vibes. I was like, how, like, what is this? What is this dude? Like, what is this? He's kind of like 5 characters into one.
Yeah, he is. And then Kurt's like, whatever happens only matters to the living, not the dead. Like, okay, dude, you're talking like you're from a Sega Genesis light gun shooter. Or not Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn. Like, what was it? House of the Dead or Vampire Night? Right. You ever play this? Either way.
Like, all right, we're going to have a weird off.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, just like everyone's going to say a weird line because like the people who wrote this didn't speak English. And probably some of the people who said it didn't speak English either. And then we get a moment of Toros' backstory where he tells about a pack of angry rats that attacked him and his family when they were living in the mountains when he was a kid. But he's like, but those rats only wanted to eat our supplies. They didn't care about us. And then Duke is like, it doesn't matter because we're superior. We're humans. Or no. Oh, yeah, Duke says that. And Deus is like, that might not be the case anymore. Again, Deus is just saying stuff like, how do you know that? So Deus is like talking about how humans used to be smarter. They used to rule the earth. And then they back when they ruled the earth, they forced the rats to live underground and in the sewers. And like Duke doesn't seem to believe that. He's like, how could you know that? And Deus is like, I read it in a book. That's like the only time we've heard books mentioned. Books mentioned.
It's like the only things that survive were like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics, like the Encyclopedia Britannica, like the B and R volume, like one chapter of the Bible, and, and then like 5 other random things, because that's like just based off of his character that likes to read. That's what I'm kind of gathering.
Well, that's what I mean. He starts going into like some like almost scientific like rat hit science. He's like, right. Yeah, back in that time, the rat communities were exclusive and they would kill outsider rats. And Diana's like, how would they know a rat from a different community? And Deus is like, they could smell it on their urine. And Duke is laughing. He's like, you're an idiot. Only a gullible fool would know that. And he's like, but maybe that's how the rats know you guys aren't part of their community because you all peed your pants. It's like, what are you doing? Are you in like 8th grade? And then Taurus is like, it doesn't matter. The place is ours now. It's like, it's ours. It's like, well, it might matter, Taurus, if they eat you. Because as if on cue, there's a loud crash and the group is on alert until Chocolate notices that one of the windows was not boarded up. And it's a window that Diana is standing like right beside. And another torrent of rats pour down onto her. So yeah.
A bucket of rats.
Just a bucket of rats just dumped onto her.
Can you imagine that's your job? Like, hey, we need to hire you. Special effects. Like, oh, great. What am I going to do? You're going to dump buckets of dead rats on people?
Yeah, I'm going to need you to dump rats on our actors. Like, oh, cool. Glad I went to Juilliard for this.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, then, Kurt and Chocolate are trying to help Diana while Deus and Video are boarding up the window. And Duke is, I guess, shotgunning rats. But he also looks like he's shooting the window barricade. So Duke's just excited to be a part of it. The group go back to the bunk room. They get Diana to bed. And they're like, oh, she's covered in bites. We need to clean this up so they don't get infected. And Taurus is like, oh, man, I forgot to bring any water. And Kurt's like, fine, we'll make do without water. But Chocolate won't have it. We got to clean her up so that Diana doesn't get sick. And since Kurt's into Diana, he's like, fine. And he's like, Video, you stay with the ladies. Guys, we're going to the basement to get water. Duke's like, I am not going to the basement. And then Kurt's like, fine, you can stay with the girls and Video can come with us. And Duke tries to stop the other guys and is like, this is all Kurt's fault. He should go alone. And Video's like, hey, man, we're trying to help our friend. Like, Diana's hurt. So, like, the other guys all go. And Kurt has another confrontation with Duke and tosses him to the side. And, it's just showing that things between Duke and Kurt are going to come to a head. Upstairs, though, well, we don't really show them go into the basement, I don't think. They're just heading to it. But Duke is like hammering the door, a barricade on the door. Uh-oh, what door do you think that is, Shane? Is it going to be a problem later?
No.
Duke calls Myrna to him. Yeah. Duke calls Myrna to him and tells her that he can save her if she believes in him. Essentially taking a chance to turn her into a follower for his crusade because she's the kind of the weakest link right now.
Right.
And she hugs him, and then he turns and looks at Chocolate. So he's like, next one. So he's going to try to win over all the ladies. Finally, down in the hydroponics room, we see that the water is just full of rats. They're just swimming around in there. Obviously they can't give Diana that water. So the guys go to turn to leave, except there's rats already all over the stairs. They just walked down. It's like, well, the rats like just showed up. They just teleported there. Because they literally just came down, saw the water. It's like, that water's gross. Never mind. Turn around. Rats on the stairs.
Like, hey, guys. In case you forgot.
Hey.
Doing rat stuff.
Doing rat stuff. Watch out.
Don't step on us.
Yeah, and then, so Kurt goes to flamethrower the rats and only finds that it no longer functions. He's out of fuel. But I was like, why would he flamethrower the stairs? They needed to walk up them.
Yeah, again, Kurt's like not the smartest, and I feel like Duke had the right idea, just went about it the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't think that leadership is Kurt's thing. Like, he makes a lot of bad decisions. But then, when they turn around, they find that the rats are coming down those cathode tubes. So Kurt like takes another weapon from one of the guys and creates it's like a melee weapon, and he like wraps cloth around it and creates a torch. The torch works. It scares the rats so they're able to go upstairs. But as they're going upstairs, what is it? Deus is just listing off all diseases that can be caused by rats. It's like, hey, thanks, Deus. I know you're bookish, but do you need to get into that right now? But they make it almost all the way up the stairs when suddenly Tauros is at the very back end. White-faced rat jumps on him, causing him to fall down the stairs. And, some of the group members, I think Video, for instance, wants to go down to save him. But then, Kurt's like, no, it's too late. They're all over him. Like, and he's right. There's rats all over him. Like, it's done. There's a rat tsunami on him. I use the phrase rat tsunami in my notes a lot.
Yeah, rat tsunami. That's good.
Rat tsunami.
Or rat foon.
Rat foon. But yeah, Kurt, Video, and Deus get to the door. But that's the door that Duke hammered shut. They can't get in to where everyone else is. Duke and Myrna are holding the door, trying to prevent them from being able to break in. Meanwhile, behind them is a very fake-looking rat stampede on the way. It looked like it was just plastic rat shapes that they just were waving. It was like the only time that they didn't use real rats because they actually wanted them to seem like
dead ones they glued together.
No, those were definitely plastic. It was not real. Chocolate though is in there, so she's like, you better open that door or I'll kill you. Or no, she says that later. She's like, open the door. They got to get the water. But then, Duke's like, hey, they didn't even get the water. So no point in opening the door and risk our lives or letting them in.
Right.
And then Kurt lets Video and Deus keep trying to get in. He runs back with the torch to try to keep the rats at bay. And that's when Chocolate tells Duke that she'll kill him if he doesn't let them in. Then Duke points his gun at her. And I'm like, that was a bad move on her part because she could have just iced him from behind if he wasn't looking at her. But she alerts him to her approach, and that's
not Chocolate style.
I guess not. Yeah. Well, it's not going to do well for them if they get eaten by rats. Duke says that he's their new leader, and the women belong to him now, whether they like it or not. I'm like, okay, Duke, you had some good points until now. Now you're a bad guy in Law & Order SVU. But Chocolate outsmarts Duke.
Dun.
Yeah, Chocolate outsmarts Duke, though, by telling Myrna there's a huge rat behind her, and she screams and jumps funny. And knocks Duke over. And then that's when Chocolate is able to get a gun and threaten him and be like, open the door or I'll kill you. So Duke opens the door and the guys are able to come in. Kurt threatens Duke. He's holding a gun to his face. And he makes possibly the most rookie move, and it's that he doesn't kill Duke then and there, because Myrna comes to his aid, and it's like, it's my fault. I wanted to be protected. And then Kurt's like, fine, Duke, you're lucky I'm going to let you live. Then does give him a nice nut punt, turns around and just cracks him.
Straight up nut jolt.
Nut jolt. But yeah, back in the bunk room, the group is debating, their next steps. Video wanted to go back after Taurus. It's like, dude, he got eaten, Video. Not even you're that lucky. Kurt wants to wait until the morning since the rats don't seem to like the light. So, that's their chance to leave undetected. Duke is like, you're a coward. We should go outside and fight the rats since the rats are trying to exploit our fear right now. He's like, he's right. They are doing that, but also fighting the rats head to head does not seem like the tactic. So here comes probably one of the wildest scenes in the movie. We get a long organ music interlude that is following a blood trail. It looks like it's moving through a room. And then it ends at the bottom of a boot that may or may not belong to somebody. The group hear a moan, which Duke and Kurt agree for once sounds like Taurus. Kurt wants to go out and look, but Duke once again doesn't want to risk their lives. Even though he was just talking about going out to fight, Duke can't figure out what he wants to do. And then, that's why I'm saying this is why Kurt shouldn't have let him live. So Kurt, Video, and Deus open the door to the bar area. Or no, this one isn't the bar. I thought this was the bar area. There's just a room between them and the bar. I have no idea what this room is. If it's just a foyer, it's just a random room. I don't know. Like I said,
yeah, I don't know.
The rooms don't make sense. But once Kurt, Video, and Deus open the door, hordes of rats all over the place. But Kurt decides that the rats can't be smart enough to try to lure them out. So there's no way this is a trap. So he's like, I'm going to go out and call their bluff. And then when he says that, Video dramatically puts his hand on his shoulder. He says it would be suicide. So Deus and I will come with you. It's like, wait, what? Video. Kurt decides that they'll all go, including Chocolate. They'll just leave Diana behind in the barricaded room. So yeah, wisely bringing Duke this time. So out in that room, the group is like, walking around slowly, shining flashlights on the hordes of rats. For some reason, though, they send Video first to walk through the room. So he's just stepping through the groups of rats. And this is like the scene that I was talking about. It's like a really long scene, but it's not very tense because the rats often just move out of the way. Although it does turn out to be their plan in the end, I guess. So maybe that's why they're
hold on. I have a theory on this. Okay.
Sure.
So the rats were just chill. Deus had the thing where he said earlier, like, that the rats base their stuff off of smell, right?
Yeah.
So the door was open and the rats had just mangled Debbie. Was it Debbie?
Diana.
Diana, thanks. Had mangled Diana and bitten her so that she would have smelled like them. So the rats don't start getting weird until Kurt shuts the door after they all pass through that like area.
Yeah, but even then they don't attack though. They just get kind of squirrely.
Right, but that's like, I think that's like when it starts back up again. I don't know. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's not, there's no continuity on it. Like there's no way to determine if that's, what it was.
Yeah, that's why my theory is that they were not attacking to like lower their guard because the trap was set and that was where they were heading to, is the trap.
Right.
So either way, Video goes through and he gets there and there's a long scene of him walking through, but he finally gets to the end and he celebrates, declaring the war to be over. But of course we have 30 minutes of movie left, so there's no way that the war is over.
No way.
There was no way. Back in the other room, a very injured and sick Diana like opens her eyes and starts to like sit up really slowly. It was really scary. I was like, what's going on here? Next up, Kurt sends Deus with Chocolate and Myrna all at once, all three. They cross relatively uneventfully. Duke goes to step forward to be stalked by Kurt. And then, waits until like the other three move forward a bit more before he sends Duke. Deus, Charlotte, and Myrna all manage to make it to Video. Duke also makes it to Video. Again, this is not, I put in my notes, the theater will not be seated as everyone just walks across this room with rats in it. Kurt shuts the door and goes to move as he's being taunted by Duke. But that's the point where you said the rats start to get like ornery. They're like squeaking and they seem to be getting agitated. But it seems to be for no reason because they do not attack Kurt either. He gets across the room with everyone else. So, the whole group are together. They go to move forward. At one point, like before he got over there, everyone's like, "Oh no!" And they're like screaming or yelling at him. He's like the rats are gonna attack. He's like, "Then go! Like, shut up! Like, just get out of here." Once the group get together, they move forward into what they call the big room, but what I've been calling the bar room. They walk into the room where the bar is, and Duke stops Myrna. And tells her that it's time for the two of us to save our skins. So they don't follow the rest of the group to see what they see. Because at the bar, they see Torres standing there, but he's facing away from them so they can't see his face. So, we've seen horror movies before. We know what that means.
He's fine. That's what it means.
Yeah, he's totally normal. Nothing weird here. So Kurt like touches Torres in the shoulder, and when he turns around, his eyes are missing. He's bleeding from a head wound. He's clearly dead, dude. The rats set a trap. I guess we're the ones who got. Hold on. I guess the rats build a better human trap. How about that? Hold on. Let me try this one.
I feel like David Caruso shows up and throws the glasses on.
Yeah. Ah! Start up the Who. Yeah. So Torres's body collapses to the ground and then suddenly starts like pulsing. It's like, oh no, there's rats inside him controlling him. Which, by the way, you ever see that episode of what was it, C-Lab 2021, when there's like a mouse in Captain Murphy's head controlling him? So Captain Murphy's wearing like this huge cowboy hat. It's to cover up the fact that there's a mouse like controlling him with a couple of levers, and they wonder why Captain Murphy keeps asking for cheese. All right, whatever. It's a funny episode of C-Lab 2021. I don't have to explain myself any further.
Yeah, I have. Well, I've seen all the episodes.
Well, whatever. That's what this scene reminded me of, except more gruesome and less likely to eat cheese.
More wholesome.
Or wholesome. Well, I was going to say less gruesome. The C-Lab version was less gruesome.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. The rats inside of Taurus are like breaking out of him. It opens up and there's like one rat there. He's like, "Hey, what's up, idiots? I'm a rat." But then
they explode out of him.
The first rat just pokes out. And he's like, "Yo, what's up, guys? I'm a rat."
Okay.
And then it explodes and just a ton of rats are flying through the air. So
part of me was like kind of like would have been funnier if they would have gave the rats like humanoid kind of sounds like the rats.
Yeah, if they had like some kind of more intelligent ramblings rather than just rat squeaks. But I guess that probably wasn't in the budget. But yeah, so then suddenly Diana is there behind them. She's like crying, looking at the corpse of Taurus along with all the emerging rats coming out of him. But then suddenly the group hear the sound of an engine attempting to turn over. They realize that Duke is trying to steal a vehicle and escape, even though the tires are flat. They go to a window to confront him, but he starts machine gunning into the windows to stop them. But luckily, he's a bad shot. No one dies. Then Duke's gun jams, so probably just video's luck stat affecting it.
Yep.
Kurt's like, "All right, I'm going to kill you this time. You've gone too far." And Duke takes that seriously, so he like grabs Myrna and puts a gun to her head. Is like, "If you don't let us go, I will kill her." And then Kurt is like, "All right, let Myrna go, and I will allow you to go." But Duke's like, "You're in no position to bargain." It's like, literally, by capturing her and taking her hostage, you were attempting to bargain. What are you talking about? At that point, though, Duke has a grenade, and he's like, "I'm going to blow her up, blow me up, and blow everyone up because of all of the ordnance in this vehicle. So you guys got to surrender." But then suddenly there's a rat on his shoulder. And Duke is like, "Oh no, rat." And he turns and he looks in the back of the vehicle. It's just full of rats. And he's like, "Oh no, the only one thing I can do, throw a grenade at them."
Yeah.
So yeah, Duke throws a grenade at the rats, setting off all the ordnance, blowing up Duke and Myrna. Just boom. There you go. They're done. We watch the reaction of our remaining heroes as they look out the window at their former friends getting exploded. In the background, though, this is kind of a cool thing. Diana is like fading backwards. She's like walking backwards and fading into the shadow.
Yes.
It's like one of those cool like Italian
This was the best shot of the movie.
Yeah, I really like that, how Diana just
hands
did
down
that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we see so she's left the room. We see her limping along the bar. She's on a path somewhere. Meanwhile, Chocolate's mourning Myrna, and Deus says that, hey, she's dead, so her problems are over. It's like, Deus is surprisingly insensitive for such a spiritual guy. That's when Kurt notices that Diana isn't there, so the group run off looking for her. Chocolate is like, while the gang is like in different parts of the building looking for her, Chocolate's like, "Stop fooling around, don't hide." It's like, Chocolate, what in all of this thing makes you think that your friend is like hiding somewhere, joking around? She's been mauled by rats. So I'm like, Chocolate, you have a better head on your shoulder than that. Don't fall into these tropes. So we get some pretty sick like organ sounding synth music as Diana's like limping through the shadows. Like, a lot of the shots of her limping through the building are really cool. It's like, I don't know where this is, but this is cool. Kurt's in the computer room looking, and he's like, "Oh, Lilith's body's in there somehow." It's like, "I don't have time to solve this mystery. I don't know how her body got here." Back to Diana, who's now in that one large room where it's a large room with like the big windows in the back of it, right? Yeah, she's in there. Then Kurt is, for some reason, he gets to the bunk room. He's like, Diana's not in the bunk room. Then we get to Diana, who's on her knees. She's talking about how tired she is. She's just like, "I'm done. I don't like this anymore. I want to do it." She sees some rats in the corner of the room she's in. She's like, "I'm done with all this." So she picks up some glass and then, cuts her wrists. So boom, suicide. We get a reaction shot to the rats, who are just sort of sitting there doing their own thing. I don't really know why it cut to a reaction shot of them. So Kurt, once again, is running around rooms looking for Diana, screaming for her, actually. Deus is for some reason down in the hydroponics lab. I'm like, didn't we establish that was unsafe? The rats were down there. That's where they killed Taurus. Well, I guess where they inhabited Taurus. But yeah, clearly she's not there. And then, Duke is like yelling at everyone, "Find her!" It's like, "What do you think we're doing, dude?" And then finally, Kurt gets back to the room where Diana actually was, and she's dead. She's in the corner, she's dead, and her body is being eaten by rats. Kurt screams and starts shooting, but not like up into the air like he's angry and can't can't fire anywhere but up in the air. No, he's shooting at her with the shotgun. It's like, hey man, I hope she wasn't still alive. Chocolate and Video arrive and they see Kurt and like, but Kurt, what are you shooting at? We don't have peripheral vision to see the dead person right next to us. But then they do finally see Diana. Chocolate is like, not Diana, no. So unfortunately the overdubbing of Goretta's screaming is often quite bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like anytime she's yelling, no, like it's just like, man, how'd you guys mess this up?
It's like it's like too good. And then like it's like she's yelling but like really soft. It was kind of weird.
It is weird. I agree with you. So yeah,
like uncanny valley, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like clearly this isn't her actually yelling in that moment. And then so you know, Kurt and Chocolate are crying. Deus shows up, he arrives, he kneels down to take Diana's hand. He notices that she had slashed her wrists, but he also notices that Kurt had shot her because there's a shotgun. So he's like, why did you kill her? And Kurt's like, I didn't kill her. She was already dead. I was just shooting the rats. And Deus is like, oh, okay, good point. And then he just turns around. It's like, man, he seemed really upset for a second, Deus. But yeah, now Kurt is finally broken. Losing his girlfriend is, he's like, oh, I guess we're just going to die now because rats are stronger than us. And Chocolate's like, hey, you're our leader. You can do that. You can do it, buddy. But then the gang hears some rattling noises and they go to run. But Kurt's like, stop. We have to assess this. Then suddenly rats start pouring down the chimney. He's like, oh, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. No, I think we're good. Wait, never mind.
Yeah. He's like, oh, hold up. Let's get out of here. So, yeah, they end up back in the computer room. Chocolate backs up and bumps into Lilith's body. And she's like having a mini freak out over it. And Kurt's like, the rats are just trying to scare us. But then Deus is like, it is a message of death. And Kurt's like, hey, stop talking about crap like that.
Yeah, it's like shit, Deus, like chill out.
Yeah. But it's like, so like, how could it could be
like Benny, it's like, this is cursed.
Yeah, this is cursed. It's like, I mean, kind of. The curse is rats that will eat you. They exist. They're here. Chocolate finds some kind of piece of technology on the ground and hands it to Video. Because Video, is apparently a technology guy, and he makes a joke.
So wait, did the rats move the body?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because okay, perfect.
No, the rats move bodies. It's just part of their game now.
Good. Yeah.
So I guess at the end of the day, maybe it was cool for Kurt to burn bodies so rats can't move them around.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Anyways, Video makes a joke about how that thing is a magic lamp and a genie could save them, and he like rubs it. But of course, with his luck stat, rubbing it turns it on, and it turns out to be a recording device, which starts playing like a audio log. So they hear a voice from one of the people who live underground, who's part of an operation called Return to Light, to try to go to the surface and see if the radiation was gone and if they could start to live up there again. But apparently the rats are the reason Return to the Light will never happen. The dude gives a long speech about how it's a new mutation that had made the rats more intelligent. When the scientists took off their protective gear, when they got out of when they realized there was diminished radiation, that's when they started to get eaten. The scientists also said the rats are angry with humans for taking their underground homes and forcing them to live on the surface. So apparently the underground humans are specifically the enemies of the rats because they hate them for taking their houses.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to put us on the surface? And the voice gets increasingly strained as it talks about how the control room is the only safe place. The rats will eat any race but themselves. It's like, oh, so the rats are racist? And then also that they're poison? I was like, oh, so the bites do kill you. So, and then the guy on the audio recording gets killed. So boom, dynamite. Kurt is surprised to learn that people still live underground. Deus says that the surface will be overrun by rats. I'm like, wait, really? Is that a danger? I never got that. I figured that this town specifically is where rats lived, like the killer rats. Video questions why rats would attack humans, but not other rats. And Deus is like, you heard the recording. It was a mutation. And Kurt, this is the part that I think is funny. Kurt's like, so we're caught in the middle of a fight between underground men and rats on the surface? It's like, yeah, dude, you stepped into a war. You didn't even know what's going on. But then suddenly the door to the control room's under attack. Apparently, according to them, the rats are battering it down. Well,
according to the effects later too, Jesus.
Yeah, they're trying to that's what
it's
I mean.
It was like a Disney ride. It was like just dumping like debris.
Yeah, I was like, how are these rats able to batter the door down?
But we find out how.
Oh yeah, using corpses.
They were using Lilith's
corpse as a battering ram.
I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but the fact that they blew the door off the hinges with Lilith's corpse,
is just some
and then killed Deus by squishing him with her corpse was.
Yes, these rats know what's up. But yeah, so Kurt wants to try to hold the door to keep it from collapsing, and Video's like you're just going to prolong our suffering. Let's just be done with this. As Kurt's like, no, we're going to keep them from breaking in. Smash cut to another part of town where suddenly humans in hazmat suits have started emerging from the ground. They're just getting up there. Some of them have machine guns. Some of them have poison gas. They're spraying gas everywhere. They're looking for rats the same way everyone else did, looking up, looking around. So, oh no, the underground humans are here, Shane. So yeah, we're kind of careening towards the finish here. So stop me if you want to chime in.
The finish of the movie?
it has met its finish. Back in the computer room, Kurt and Deus are trying to hold the door on its hinges. Speaking of, my door just came off its hinges. Chalk...
Like fully?
No. I told you, one of my hinges snapped on my door.
Oh, I thought the other one went.
Oh, I hope not. Where was I? Oh yeah, Chocolate's like, just stop, just leave it, let's just get out of here. It's like, then it's gonna cut back and forth, like hazmat dudes gas and stuff, back to the people like holding the door, and then finally the door is just broken down, and yes, it's like it explodes inward, just like boom, the door falls on Kurt, the corpse of Lilith falls onto Deus, and Deus actually, I don't think he gets killed by her corpse, but by the rats, because remember he rips off her corpse head and goes to throw it, but then like rats are crawling out the mouth to try to get him. Then Kurt gets the door off him, but he's now he's under attack by rats. And Video wants to try to help him, but Chocolate's like, no, there's nothing we can do for him. And we just get a long scene of Kurt dying, Video looking on, and then Charlotte screaming no. And it's kind of funny because it'll like cut back and forth to like him dying, no, him dying, no. It's like, all right, stop saying no over and over again.
Kurt.
Deep hurting.
Well, this is when they were like chucking rats at him.
Oh yeah, just like toss rats. Like it's like stop throwing rats at him. But yeah, I was like, how many times is she gonna scream no? They're gonna cut to her so she can yell it again. It just feels like it should have just been one of those cuts. They just used every cut of it to put into each scene. Suddenly, White-Faced Rat emerges from among the swarm. Chocolate at this point is like, I'm done. She hands like her spiked mace to Video and like puts the spike against her chin. It's like, kill me. I want to be dead. And Video's like, I can't do it. I can't kill you. And then as soon as like he says that, White-Faced Rat goes to lunge, and then boom, Video impales White-Faced Rat. That's the end of the boss of the rats, I guess. Unless that wasn't, and I'm just adding a story bit just that I experienced that no one else did. Then suddenly Video notices that the rats are gone or dead, because there's a bunch of them dead on the ground next to like Kurt and Deus. The fun fact is those could be actually dead rats.
Those ones couldn't get cleaned up and taken out of shot.
Nope, they got to stay there. Then suddenly though, Chocolate and Video are getting gassed too. And Video's like, oh, it's the men from Delta 2. Oh, I didn't mention it earlier. Delta 2 is the name of the underground city where these people came from. He's like, they're here to save us. And then they go to try to run out. They only make it as far as the bar room. Video passes out first. He like passes out like next to the bar, while there's one of those hazmat dudes walking behind them. And it's like, okay, are they here to help them or just to observe them? It's kind of weird. But then, Chocolate, she's like about to pass out. She's choking from the gas. And then like 3 hazmat dudes come up beside her, like one behind her and 2 to each side, and they catch her. She falls and carry her out. So we get to outside, like in the clear. Video and Chocolate are coming to, like their vision's hazy, but then they see that there's like a group of hazmat dudes just standing there looking at them. It's like, oh, this can't be weird, right? This probably everything's fine, Shane. Shane's fine. One of the hazmat dudes comes forward, and Video asks, hey, are you the people from Delta 2 who live underground? The guy nods. And Video's like, I am glad to be found by friends. But and so you are friends, and we are the same race. And then the guy nods. And then Chocolate.
It was like a creepy nod.
Yeah. He like waits a second, and then he nods. And then Chocolate is like someone read in a book once about how we were all brothers, and that book was the Bible, and God created men and animals. I'm like, wait, what? Like, you're just gonna bring up the Bible? And I guess the hazmat dude is like, okay, cool. We all believe in the Bible, I guess. So the hazmat dude removes his gas mask to reveal he's a rat-faced human.
Dude, I've always wondered what movie this was from. I'm so glad I found it, though. This is the meme.
When he just like takes off the mask and he's like a rat-faced human. It's like he gurgles. He's like,
and then like the other, there's a ton of like like shows and even video games that stole this scene. Like, I don't know if you played Days Gone.
Oh, really? No, I haven't.
So like there's like a secret ending to Days Gone where like the whole time there's these group of scientists that are like trying to like capture you, and they're like doing shit, and eventually you like befriend one, and it like they come to save you, and the thing takes its mask off, and it's like an alien version of a human. It's like the virus. So like there's a freakers, they call them freakers. They're basically zombies, and you're finding out they evolve like throughout like being infected. So then all the scientists that are trying to save everyone are just actually zombies.
Oh man,
but
what
it's
a
like
twist.
it's basically this. They like stole it from this. It's like the same scene, dude.
That's amazing.
Like he shows up in a hazmat suit, he like takes his helmet off.
Yeah, the dude. So yeah, the this dude. Yeah, he takes off his mask. Got a rat face. He gurgles at them. Chocolate screams. Boom. Rats. Night of Terror. Title drop. And then suddenly a very upbeat credit music for like the twist ending we just saw. There you go. Rats.
Holy
Night of Terror.
We did
one of the finest of endings. All right. Well, you know what we do next, though, Shane?
You know what I'm thinking? What do we do next?
It's time for the
McMurder of the movie.
Yeah, you can go first.
I really liked how Deus died by the rats launching Lilith's dead body in a sleeping bag at him. Then he had like, I don't know, and then they like were able to get him then because he like had to rip her head off. That was pretty cool. I don't know, the other one, some of the flamethrower death, I always forget that guy's name because he was
Noah.
I don't know, Noah's up there for me too. I don't know, what are you feeling?
So I don't know if it counts as a death since he's kind of already dead, but I would want to say Taurus's rat explosion.
Oh, that was sick too. Yeah,
but that might be disqualified because he was already dead.
I don't know. I think it counts, right? I don't know.
Yeah, because they're like using his body to walk. Well, I guess that's the other part of his death is he gets rats that drill inside of him to take over his body and control him to walk over, and then set a rat trap for his friends.
They Lemmy Winked him.
Oh no! Although I will say that I do really love that what is it, the Noah's death, like whenever he's like, kill me, and then like Kurt's like, all right,
instant
flame
thank
throw.
God, finally.
Well, then he's on fire. He runs out the window, and he's presumably still alive because then like Kurt has Duke shoot him to finish him off. Like, man, how many ways can one person die? Like mauled by rats, flamethrowered by his boss, and then killed by his boss's nemesis.
Killed by a man with tassels.
Yeah, that's all of our worst nightmare. Killed by a man with tassels. All right, what do you think though? Where are you at?
I did like the Taurus one with the rat explosion, but like I don't know.
Do
it's
you think
kind of
it
a gray
counts?
area.
Yeah, it's like, does it count?
I don't know.
I would really like it if it would count.
We can go with it. I think we should do it.
Well, do you feel more strongly about the Deus getting a body like chucked at him?
No, I just think that's hilarious.
Okay.
It's an honorable mention. I just think it's funny because like when the door blew off the hinges, that was the last thing I expected.
To see that rats are using the corpse of their friend as a battering ram somehow.
Yeah.
But all right, then let's go with Taurus's rat explosion then for all the marbles.
Nice.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. The McMurder of the movie is the rat explosion coming out of Taurus, who previously had been controlled by the rats and not in a cute way like in Ratatouille. But all right, next up is everyone's favorite section, the
Judgment categories.
So the judgment categories are where we add a letter grade to 5 different categories. They are story, which includes writing, acting, effects, music, and that can include sound design, and then also cult factor. Cult factor being that little X factor that makes these movies so special. So we can start with story.
Look, I'm gonna say my piece really quick, and I'll let you pop off on this.
All right.
So we rammed writing into this category because it was too close to like story. This, like, if you were to ask an AI to write a movie about a post-apocalyptic biker gang being killed by rats, this would be the script that it would write. Like how like the words aren't correct. I mean, they're technically correct, right?
The best,
but they're not like right. But they're not. It's not. We don't talk like that. So it was just so weird. Like it was very hard for me. Like the first time I watched this, I'm like, what the what? I was just trying to think of like what. Why is this happening? I don't know. Just some of the words. Like it's like, did anyone like proofread this for them? Because like people spoke English that were from America. Like Americans worked on this movie. So I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe
I'll let you take it away.
Maybe in the year what is it? 2216, that's how they'll talk. That's the one thing that I love about this is like in 2015, a nuclear holocaust happened. Now 225 years later, here we are. It's like, oh, okay. So gonna blow past all the rest of that and then have this set up. It is a very wild story. And yeah, the way that people talk is like, that's not really how people talk, but it's also like weirdly interesting. And like some people just say like randomly very insightful things, but it's like apropos of nothing. It's like, why'd you say that?
It's like all the shitty bathroom posters made it, or like the bathroom pictures, like live, laugh, love, like all those things.
Yeah. It's like,
and that's how they get those insightful statements. Because it's just like,
yeah, Deus just read a cliche book or something. But yeah, so what letter did you want to land on for that, though? I actually think very favorably of it for its like just over the top stupidness.
I think it's a B.
I agree. I think it's a B. I think it's silly. Yeah. It's weird. It's rats. Night of Terror.
Sure is.
All right, B. There you go. But I have a feeling we're about to be a little more damaging with the acting here.
Man, some of like the physical performances were so good. In some of the scenes, like I liked how like the shots were great. Like I don't know, but just some of the overdub voices were just so bad. Like it's hard not to like knock it down a couple pegs. Because like I feel like, how do you judge acting when they're not even really able to read their lines?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like how do you even do that? Like I don't really know how to. Because is it just their VO was just awkward and then was it even them doing the VO? And like that's the thing, a lot of these people were Italian, and if they didn't speak English, someone read the voice lines. Was it like cast and crew members? And like they're not actors, you know what I mean? So like I find it really hard to like accurately judge this one. So for that matter, I'd probably give it a D, because it's like, how do you even know what to do? Or like a C maybe, I don't know. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I would say probably pretty low. I I think like there are real standouts. Like I really like Greta. I think she does a great job as Chocolate.
Yeah.
I think Video is charming in his own way, and I thought that the performance that what's the guy who played Deus's name? Fausto Lombardi.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good. He had a lot of presence though. But that's the thing, is like presence, we've established that like just because someone's charming or has good presence, that isn't acting. So it's not really enough to carry the day. And there's just too many things, like choices they made that were like really annoying. But also though, if you watch a lot of Italian horror film, some of those like over the top performances or really weird moments are actually part of that tradition. So that's actually by design. So I would say probably because of the Italian of it all, I'd like to go to C. I don't really think we need to go all the way down to D. That feels a little bit hurtful.
Yeah, right. I'll do C. Again, I don't think the performances were bad. I would have loved to hear this like in Italian or in their version of English.
Boy, howdy, you're gonna have a hard time when we start doing a couple of giallos.
No. I'm not against it. I just think like I would like to see, like I know there's no versions of that, but like I would like to see what it was like without the overdubbed voice. That's all.
No,
like,
I get it.
I think it would add to the movie instead of detract.
All right, but you cool with C for acting then?
Yeah, I think that's a fair grade. Yeah.
All right. Next up is effects.
Phew.
I mean, there were rats. Can't say there weren't.
The painting the rats or whatever they did, like the soot or whatever, was pretty interesting. The fact that the rats are dead takes it down a level for me.
Yeah.
But the fact that they threw them at people kind of negates that a little bit. This had like a real 70s blood vibe to it, didn't it? Like,
yeah, the blood effects are very thick. It's another Italian kind of trope.
Yeah. I did like the rat explosion was badass. Taurus's like face, like or whatever, like that was really well done.
Yeah, the gore
the
effects.
Fires,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I was gonna say the gore effects I think were surprisingly good, because when we finally see like Diana's face up close after she'd been like attacked, like that was pretty good. Like that was actually some really good effects on that.
I kind of liked it. And like the smoke effect was cool. Like using the leaf blower with liquid smoke was super smart. Like I never would like that. That's such a good idea. Like I can't describe to you enough how smart that was of them doing that.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot with a small budget. And yeah, a lot of the corpses they find when they're like in the place, like those are some pretty, they like look kind of goopy and kind of like realistic looking corpses. I feel like I would, if it hadn't been for the dead rats of it all, I would probably be inclined to give it an A, but I feel like because they were using dead rats, I have to go to B. I can't reward you. You lose a full letter grade for using actual dead animals.
I agree.
So we want to do B for effects then?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, but next up though is music and sound design. And you can go first on this.
I love the music in this. I don't know why.
Agree?
it didn't fit, but it kind of does. And it was like that weird, like they nailed like the weird dystopian like synthy kind of vibe. Like I loved it. And then like the using music to build tension was done well in this movie. I think it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
And like take away, like I'm not gonna I won't put the VOs in here because I feel like that's a stylistic choice, not like from the composer, right?
Yeah.
So like when we talk about sound design, we're talking about like Foley work and stuff like that. I don't think it's fair for these movies that are heavily rooted in voiceovers to grade music that way on, because I don't think it's fair.
Well, and we kind of gave them their licks on acting, so we don't have to do it here too. I just think the music,
right? Because good voiceovers are fine.
Yeah.
No,
that's what, like I was thinking about it. Like that's why I feel like we need to do a movie with music by like Claudio Simonetti or something like that. Like of Goblin. Like like this music, like it's so much like the way that Italian horror movies do music. It always is like such a standout. Like even if the movie itself might not be doing anything you're interested in, the music is just so weird. Like those weird like organ moments. Like it's like, oh, what's happening? What are we doing here? Like, yeah, I loved that. I'm trying to see which ones like Claudio Simonetti has done music for. Like he's done Deep Red, Tenebrae, Phenomena. Yeah, some of these are ones we've talked about possibly doing. So now that we've like broken through on a lesser Italian horror film, we might be ready to attack one of those like better giallos. But even so, like somebody like Claudio Simonetti is like on the tip of my tongue. Like I just know his name, but like I had no idea who like Luigi Ceccarelli. I think it's Ceccarelli is how you pronounce that. I had no idea who Luigi Ceccarelli was, but like I'm sitting here like, yeah, this music ruled. Like this dude he knew what he was up to.
It was good. I
think the music is strong enough to give it an A. I didn't really care for the rat sounds, but you know what? Rat sounds are rat sounds. That's fine. It did what it needed to do. And actually, some of the scenes where rats were eating people, like when what was the room they went in the corner? Like it was when Debbie was being eaten by the rats, and
right,
or not Debbie. I called her Debbie. Diana was being eaten by the rats.
Yeah, and he shot her.
And, well, yeah, but like when he walked in the room, and the first thing you heard was the rats eating her. I was like, oh, that's kind of that was a good something eating you sound. So,
yep.
Okay, we're gonna give the A then for music.
I think it's fair.
Hell yeah! Now it's time for that last one, Shane. It's Cult Factor.
I mean, using dead animals aside, I the twist ending. Like if you like, I did not know. Like when it was happening, I'm like, wait, is this the movie where they pull the mask off and they're like also rats? And it was. I was like, what? Like what? So I'm gonna go A, but that's my vote is A.
You know what? Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I really enjoyed the movie a lot. Like it was like, it's not a good movie, but it is a fun movie. Like when but
it's like good bad.
Yeah, you won't regret sitting there and watching it and be like, oh,
not at all.
I don't know what room I'm in, and everyone's running around and saying weird stuff, and like, oh, there's a rat.
Yeah.
Like here's a quick zoom to a rat behind a guy. He doesn't even know the rat's there. Like it's so good. So yeah, I feel like we're always giving A's to Cult Factor, but you know,
not always. Death Ship didn't get one.
That's true. Death Ship is the lowest of our
Supernatural didn't get one. We had one other one that didn't get an A.
We'll have to go back through and write these down so we can have some kind of database of them.
I was doing it for a while and I stopped because it was like too much.
All right. Well, then there you go. That's the judgment categories, but we're not done, Shane.
We're not?
No. Oh no. It's
Drats.
Drats. Speaking of drats, it's time for everyone's favorite category,
the D-roll.
for Deus. Our favorite character in this, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
So, for those who haven't listened or don't care, the D-roll is our last hat on a hat, our last little weird category on a category.
Tete-a-tete.
Where we decide if this movie is a cult classic, a B movie, grindhouse, or trash. And hopefully we never show you trash, but it could happen if we run out of movies.
It definitely could.
So we talked a little bit earlier. I think we might be about to have words, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Go first.
I was going to say, as much as I love this, I feel like it's always a qualified recommendation. So I feel like it's a B movie.
Damn. That's hard. I don't know. Like, there's so many cool things in here, though. Like, the ending alone, like that is... I've never seen this movie I didn't know anything about it. And I have seen the ending to this, You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like these are one of the movies that have like a staying power. And like, there is something that maybe just really like these styles of movies. Like has huge like cyborg vibes, like even all those knockoff 80s action movies, and I literally put all of them on my to be list. I'm gonna watch all of them. I love that era of filmmaking, like just the weird dystopian, like nothing makes sense. There was a weird movie from the 80s called Striker that no one's ever seen. It was just like this. Like it was like a really weird, it was Australian. It was like a one-off kind of like they were trying to cash in on the Mad Max thing. And I don't know. It's just something about these movies I just absolutely love. I can't tell you why. It's like so corny. It's like good to me. You know, like the sci-fi settings, like when they went into like where the food was being grown. Like, I don't know. I think it's a cool movie.
In the computer room.
If you could get past the voiceovers, which were terrible, I think this movie would slap. But I don't know. I'll go with you if you want to go B movie, but I just don't.
No, honestly,
I don't know, man.
I think you just won me over. I think you're right. Like it's a cult classic, man. This is
dude. They roll up to a town, check if everything's okay, do a hand signal, and like dude jumps a dirt bike out of the back of a truck that had grenades in it. Like, where do you get that? Like, how do you like? That's the thing. Like, I can't believe this movie isn't more popular.
So I agree. All these things are rad, and I feel like when I think of it, I'm like, it's a bug, not a feature. But then when you're like, no, this is a feature. Like this is what we want.
It's like I want to see Terminator 2, their version now. Like I'm here for this.
Yeah, and then this like, okay. I think you won me
Robo
over.
Robo Wars or Robot Wars. It's basically the description of the movie is it's like Predator, RoboCop, and like one other like Schwarzenegger film, and it's like literally there's just a robot dude in the jungle fighting these people. Like it's just wacky, goofy move. Like I don't know. I feel like movies take themselves too seriously sometimes, and stuff like this needs to happen. So I don't know.
Even beyond that, though, like there's something like it's not as good as you know, some of the big name giallos that are out there. You know, it's not an Argento. You know, but it also like it really does still have those tropes and those tropes and those like stylistic elements that a lot of the Italian films have. Like some of the shots are interesting, and some of the syntax to the movement and to like the style just like feels like that Italian school of directing, even if it isn't like probably no one's gonna be like this is a great film, but it does give you an idea of those tropes and probably is a little more interesting than some of the more abstract or weird ones. Like it's a very easy to follow premise, and you know people run from room to room yelling about rats. Like so, no, you won me over. You're right. I was too hard on it. This is a cult classic for sure. Because I would definitely recommend it to somebody without like any reservation, other than maybe telling them that real rats were killed in the making of this film.
Yeah, and the guy hangs brain for like a minute.
You just chill. It's a European film. There's gonna be.
I understand that, but you gotta like warn people.
I don't know. I don't feel like I have to warn you about something you can look up on Wiki or on like IMDb and be like, "Is there nudity?" And it's like, "Yeah, dude, hangs dong." It's like, okay, cool. Thanks for the heads up, IMDb.
Thanks, MDB. So like another thing too that like I didn't really talk about, and I wanted to, but I kind of like left it go because you know I was trying to keep a good pace. But one thing that I think this movie does really well, and it's credit to the filmmaker or director, is it's shot very well, and they use a lot of tricks and techniques that were like pioneered in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And there's a lot of like people probably gonna be pissed at me, but I see a lot of Citizen Kane in this movie, but because it's like the low angle looking high shots to make them look taller. When they film the rats, it's always from like maybe like an upper angle looking down to make them like it adds different perspective on stuff. Like the quick cut shots between people's faces and reactions, even if it was a rat. Like I just see a lot of different film tricks that were just pioneered throughout the years were used in this movie. I got those vibes. Like probably the second time I watched this, I'm like, man, there's a lot of like Citizen Kane shots in here. Like the scene where they're all lined up and then she just pans off in the back. Like there's just so many cool little like vignettes, or what I guess it would be what I would call them, right? Little like scenes. Like it's almost like they storyboarded and then tried to fill the gaps in later. I don't know. I just love that shit. Like, okay, like the scene where they're all walking across the floor with the rats that aren't doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Where you get a lot of scenes of like they're zoomed in on the feet, and it's like they're at the rat level, and then it comes back out and it's at the human level, but it's not dead on. It's kind of off centered, or it's like a little like they frame stuff in the scenes very well. Like I don't know. I thought it was like a masterclass of like setting up shots and stuff. It was great. Now the one thing though, and I will say, whoever filmed that intro, like they should have shot that guy. That fucking whoever was holding that camera was either just laughing the whole time or was like nervous as shit. Like I almost got motion sickness watching that intro. Go back and watch it again. It is the shakiest shit I've ever seen. I'm like, how are you even like, they're like free-handing the camera, but like whoever's doing it like has like tremors or something. Sorry.
All right. That was a lot. I will agree with you that
Whatever.
I think that it is. I do think that it is capably shot. Like the directors clearly understand the language of film. They know how to set up a shot. They know how to communicate to keep it interesting. So I would agree with you. I think that it's well shot. I don't know that I would use the term masterclass, but here's the thing: like there's either people who understand, how to film, and there's people who don't. And like if they don't, they're not going to do any interesting shots. And it's a movie where you find yourself being bored without understanding why. It's because it's not dynamic. It's not it's not using the image to help tell the story. It's like, why not just film a play at that point? So no, I definitely agree with you. I think that it is well shot, and clearly they know what they're doing, and they've made a lot of movies, and we've seen their IMDb's. They've definitely made a lot of them. So I know. I think it's really well done. Cult classic it is.
Good.
Yeah, I gave up. You win. No, I think you were right though. I think that I was trying to be harder on it because I'm like, this isn't a big, like there's not a lot of big names. It's not a prestige movie. It's like, yeah, but I liked it and I would recommend it to other people because it's awesome. So you heard it here first, folks. Rats Night of Terror. It's a cult classic.
Loving it.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Lawsuit.
Yep. Oh no, I just got called by Ronald McDonald. He says Grimace is at my door.
He's like, I'm coming for you.
Grimace is going to break your knees. All right. Well, before we, say what's up next on the Dark Side Drive-In, finally reveal that movie that we've been waiting to reveal. I want to do a quick shout out. Thank you to Rebel Revolver for our theme song. Super appreciate it. If you guys want to follow them, they're on the social medias. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. You can find them out there. They're on Spotify if you want to listen to their music. Go ahead and look them up. And if you follow them on social media, they will share when they're doing shows. I think they have a couple upcoming perhaps soon. Don't quote me on that. Go look at their social media and find out for yourself. So Rebel Revolver, do it now.
Yeah. And drummer of Rebel Revolver, PC Riley, has a book out now. It all comes out in the wash. You can get it digitally or hardback, or I think paperback on Amazon, and half of the proceeds go to the Pittsburgh Humane Society. So go ahead, give it a look. If it interests you, go ahead, grab it. It always helps to support a good cause and a good friend. So
boom, there you go. Boom. The plugs. All right. Do you want to? I'll introduce the next segment, and then you can do the movie because I know you've been like champing at the bit to get this thing out there.
We should just not say it.
Never say. Well, you can cut it out then. I'm going to make sure that we at least say it.
It's the forbidden movie.
Can never be said. So yes, the next block coming up is our very spooky Halloween block, which is the Samhain season devilish duology. We're going to be doing 2 demon themed movies. And the one that we're going to do now is one we actually discovered last year. So this has been a long time coming. We've been sitting on this specific movie for so long. So thank the Tubi gods that it wasn't removed before this happened. That would have been devastating.
Which is shocking.
There have been some purges, but it's managed to survive. But yeah, no, Shane, let you say the name of this movie, this elusive film we've been chasing for almost a calendar year now.
All right, drum roll. Insert drum roll.
Well, you'll have to do that. You do all that.
Yeah, right. So we are going to watch, and it is on Tubi. We checked today. I think it was 1983, right?
Correct.
The 1983, what we're going to call a hit before we watch it. Mausoleum.
Mausoleum. We finally said it.
Pause for effect. So, what drew me into this, definitely the intro song. It like woke us up.
It is a banger. It is an 80s certified 80s banger.
It's so good.
You can also,
and the premise is wild.
It is, yes, it's something. Aside from Tubi, if Tubi's not your thing for some reason, I'm seeing that it is available on Pluto TV. It says Plex, but Plex is hit or miss. Fubo TV, and then Flixfling. I've never heard of that. What is that?
Oh no, it's another one.
Is there another one?
Watching like 5 years, everyone's like, "Hey, you got Flixfling?"
Yeah. Hey, can I borrow your Flixfling password?
Can I get your Flixfling login?
Yeah. Oh, according to this, the
Flixfling and chill.
Jeez. According to this, though, the Plex version is streaming free. So that's what IMDb tells me. So
good.
Yeah, there you go. You have options if you don't want to do Tubi for some reason. But you should do Tubi and also Pluto TV, because Pluto TV has all the Godzilla movies on it. But that's not for today. We're talking about Mausoleum. Oh no, we talked about Rat's Night of Terror. Next time for the Samhain Season Devilish Duology, we will be talking about Mausoleum.
We sure will. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
You just can't hide it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, do you want to close this out, Shane?
Yeah. So, thanks everybody again. The support's been great. We had a lot of fun with this movie. I don't know if you can't tell. I again never have seen this movie, and that's why we do this stuff. Stefan's seen a lot of them. I'm trying to expand my repertoire of obscure 80s horror movies, and sometimes 70s, sometimes 90s.
There it is.
There it is. There he is. But yeah. So yeah, you've been listening to The Dark Side Drive-In, and yeah, again, looking forward to the Samhain Season Devilish Duology. So go ahead, watch Mausoleum on your streaming service of choice, and keep it spooky. We haven't done that in a while.
Spook
Stay peeled.
'em up, ghouly ghoul.
Yeah, we need a new catchphrase. Hot ghoul summer is over, so we need pools out, ghouls out. We need a new one, so we'll come up with something fun.
Yeah, so no longer trying to stay cooled and stay ghouled. About to figure something else out.
Yeah. All right. Well, bye.
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 Bye, guys.
I'm from Queens.
Deborah.
Deborah.
My brother Robert's really tall. We got to end this. We've gone so long.
Why are there so many bodies, Deborah?
All right, I'm hitting stop.
All right, bye.
Bye.
He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the Dark Side Drive-In Movie Club. From Dynamis Media comes a horror cyclopedia, watching movies from the gates of hell. Covers ripped from a blockbuster shell. Officer Bosch is the only good cop. Chuds and the stuff just can't be stopped. Things get hairy in the werewolves there. Turn the corner and the prowler is there. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club. Shane's the one who runs the show. He produces and keeps the flow. The Savini of the ones and twos. Only Jack Cordell has bigger shoes. Steffet does the bulk of the research. His descriptions just can't be besmirched. Lots of synopses are the top of lore. Just like Lamson, you'll be begging for more. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club.
From the deepest corner of the darkest universe, two brave hosts battle through nameless hordes of ghoulish monsters most foul, all to bring you the eternal glory of the Dark Side Drive-In.
It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club. It's the dark side driving. Come to the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving. It's the dark side driving movie club.